Wives paced Widow's Walk, scanning the horizon, watching the sea. The warmth of the fireside guided their creaking ships past the ever-present lighthouses safely into port. Today as yesterday, these sentinels of safety bring gladness to the hearts of the homing mariners.
Hello, and welcome to the haunting of Seawall Orphanage. It is Friday Fright Night. I'm a tiny bit laggy, but that's okay. That will settle down any second now. And we are deep diving into the haunting of Seawall Orphanage. And it's our penultimate episode. How did that happen, Jonathan Fry?
I don't know. It happened so fast.
It did.
But I'm excited.
Oh, baby. We just had a question in chat that I'm going to answer right now, live and on air. Are we near a body of water? We are on an island. We are surrounded by water.
Fact, let's show the map. Let's show them the map.
All right, I will get that up. While I'm getting that up, Don, why don't you tell us a little about you and the world that we are inhabiting?
So I'm Don, and I'm going to be your narrator today. For anybody who hasn't watched any of our other episodes, we are playing an original horror game. It's entirely improvised, and it's inspired by the mythology of Stephen King, his world. So our island that you're taking a look at right now, that's off the east coast of Maine. It's one of the easternmost islands in the United States, and it's well away from the more civilized areas of the country. We're playtesting these rules each week, so we're making adjustments based on your feedback. We'll have a new version of the game here sometime soon. I'm working on it right now, and I'm pretty excited about that. But if you have any thoughts about the game, if you want to let us know what you are thinking about the rules, if you have any questions, you can go ask us on our YouTube, on our Discord. And we have a great group of folks in our Discord who are chatting about the game. And we have a world anvil for this game as well. It tells you all about the world that we created back in our session 0, the island, its occupants, its history. And you can also find the rules of the game, the current rules of the game, on our world anvil as well. And that's all I wanted to say. I'd like to go around before we start our game today and introduce the cast, all of my amazing friends, and let them tell us a little bit about their characters in 2010. And we can go ahead and start here with Ray.
Oh, hey, I'm Ray. I play Staley. I'm with a brick everywhere on the interwebs, so if you follow me on Twitter, there's more information about what I do. I also play on a game on Encounter Roleplay on now Thursdays. So if you're free on Thursday, mid-afternoon, I played a Deadlands Noir game on the channel, and I'm really excited. We just started yesterday, so that's been great and fun. But yeah, today I play Staley, and she is 15 in 2010. She's more of that, like, alternative, like, dark kind of girl, long black hair, loves metal and hanging out with her friends and getting into trouble. But apparently there's been too much trouble going on and too much havoc wreaking on these poor kids. So now she's kind of traumatized by everything. So we will see where that ends up. But apparently right now I'm in a wax museum and staring at a wax statue that looks like me. So yay me.
Cool. And yeah, as this is the penultimate episode and this is a horror game, I think it's safe to say that all of our family here has suffered some trauma. and might be dealing with that and those effects at the moment. But maybe nobody has suffered, well, it's arguable, but maybe nobody's suffered more trauma than Josh. Josh, how are you doing, buddy?
I am doing good. I owe a quick apology to Charlie. I was running super late. I wasn't supposed to be running super late, and about just as I was going to sit down on the computer and get everything set up, I almost cut my thumb off with a straight razor. Yeah, that was fun, and then I had to change clothes and everything. So like we're starting with trauma, and we're going into more trauma steadily throughout the night. So I will be playing Jacob Prince. He is in 2010, somewhat emo-ish, troubled 16-year-old shitbag. That's who he is. And he finally last episode like worked up the courage to tell Staley that it kind of like, she was pretty swell and that, whatever. It was super awkward, and she was like, "Yeah, you're great too." And we were like, "We should go somewhere," and I thought we were going to somewhere else. I thought we were going to the mall, and then Staley has gone to a wax museum, and I don't know how to feel about that. I don't know how to feel about that, Don. So that's me, and yeah.
Fantastic. I'm glad that you made it. I'm sorry about your thumb, but I appreciate your dedication to the game, Josh, your dedication. Speaking of having suffered trauma, I'm going to go down to Tommy. Tommy, tell us a little bit about your character. And I want to say, too, since we have some new folks in chat, when I say 2010, we've kind of played this game in two different timelines. So in 2010, our family here are teenagers. They're a foster family living on this island in the old historic Seawall Orphanage. And then in 2020, some of our sessions, we've seen them 10 years later when they've returned to the island as adults. And I think probably, Tommy, your character has the biggest difference between the two timelines right now for one reason in particular. How are you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great. I mean, I definitely have suffered the most physical trauma in this game, I would think, having been shot in both timelines. But I am doing great. I'm super excited to be back. I'm Tommy at Imperator Pengu. I play Jay Hopkins, our resident perfect boy. There's nothing wrong with him. He has suffered absolutely no mental breaks whatsoever. No one would ever dare say anything different about him. Keyword there being dare. And he may or may not wreck someone's day today. We'll see.
I look forward to it. I hope for a lot of day wrecking before this session's out. So let's go on up to Lydia. How are you doing, Lydia?
Hi. So happy to be here. I'm sorry I was delayed. I had to meet my postmate at my front door. I'm, priorities. I'm so happy to be back. I'm playing Wren, who is sometimes called Birdie. She's the youngest of the crew. She's 14. She's a real sweetheart. She's America's sweetheart, Seawall sweetheart. That's all.
Is there anything in particular?
I'm going to go to the movies tonight with Merrill, with Travis. And I'm so excited.
This is like a sort of like date that you set up way back in, I think, session 2, all the way back in session 2. It's finally going to happen. I'm excited too. We should say to the audience too, because I don't think they know, the movies aren't on island. The movies are off island back on the mainland. So you actually you have to take a ferry if you want to go to the mall. So that'll be a whole thing today. Let's go over and meet Merrill. How are you doing, Travis?
Oh, I'm good. I'm kicking it. I've got a little bit of coffee with me. I brought just a small amount of coffee, just a little bit of coffee here. So we've got 1 dram of coffee for myself. It's about as big as I can ride it into town. How's it going? I'm producer Trav. I'm playing Merrill Gross, who is the scion of the Gross family and the heir apparent of the grocery store fortune after his parents died under mysterious circumstances on their yacht off Seawall Harbor. Merrill would have no idea how all that came around. And so there's a little trauma there, and he's going to the movies. And in 2010, he's 17, and some crazy shit happened the day before. And he went to his quiet place and reminded himself that he is the water, and we all come from the water, and we'll all go back to the water. And it's going to be all right. Good times.
Good times. Before we kind of do a wrap up and catch people up on what happened previously, where we're starting today, let's go over and meet our friend Present Charlie. Hi, Charlie.
Hello. Hi. Present Charlie has a lot of little things to do at the start of the show, including add a lot of dice to our overlay. A big thank you to Kitchen and to Hippie, who have both donated big crits. Hippie has also donated for 2 Banes, one in hour 2 and one in hour 3. Don, I think that's how that works. So
right.
I'm sure we'll have fun with that. We are getting really close to doing our retweet unlock, which will be a viewer poll today, followed by everything getting darker and more horrible for us when we hit 30 and 40 retweets. Again, if we hit 5 subs tonight, we will be unlocking an event, which is probably going to be a bad thing because that's just how this game goes. In the heart of darkness, I have been with Gigi in questionable prisons of damned souls and running away from C4 rigged sheds in the woods because my friend is apparently a bank robber, and trying to save my beloved sisters from my friends who are all going slightly crazy and disappear for a couple of days into the walls of hospitals / appear with guns at random events because that's the American way. Speaking of the American way, I think this is time for some capitalism, and I think it's time that I throw it over to Past Charlie to tell everyone about our sponsors. Past Charlie here to tell you about a few of our sponsors. Fantasy Grounds is our virtual tabletop of choice, providing us access to roles, tokens, maps, and more. You can try it today for free at fantasygrounds.com. While you're there, why not check out Fantasy Grounds Unity? World Anvil is a remarkable resource, whether you're a writer, GM, or player, organizing your campaign notes or building an entire world. Get forging today for free at worldanvil.com. And before we get into today's game, we'd like to shout out our friends at Andrews McMeel Publishing, who published the wonderful game Zweihander. If you haven't checked that out, you can catch it here on Wednesdays. We'd also like to mention Modifius, who manage and produce a wide range of RPGs. Whether you feel like being Dishonored, exploring a tale from the loop, or boldly going with Star Trek adventures, why not check out Modifius.com. And we're back. Please do go and check out that World Anvil, especially for this game, because Don has done an amazing job building up all of our lore over there. There's the interactive map where you can click on locations to find more about them, as well as all of the rules so that you can play this game if you would like at home. Season 2 rules will be coming up at some point when we get around to it. And this is our penultimate episode, so everyone brace positions. Here we go. Done.
Pretty Marsh Harbor is just like any other small town in America. It's got a road sign that tells you how many folks live there, and every few years that number seems to go down just a little more. It's got neighbors who would give you the shirt off their back if you asked for it. They always seem to look at you suspicious-like, waiting for you to prove that you're up to no good. It's got its fair share of good folks and bad folks, and folks just trying to do their best with what God gave them. Teenagers get excited about going to the mall, catching the newest movie at the theater, shopping for clothes their parents or their caretakers probably wouldn't approve of, and avoiding the gaze of strange men and women who watch them from across the food court. It's the sort of place that, even if you've never been there, you know it when you see it. And when Pretty Marsh is gone, It'll be like it was never there at all, like its people never existed at all, just like any other small town in America. So we're going to begin our story tonight in the year 2010. It's the end of summer. It's the witching hour at the Pretty Marsh Historical Wax Museum. And I would like to turn back the clock now and watch the final harrowing moments of our last session together before we begin. As you're spinning around, looking around, Staley, the lights flicker on, these old overhead fluorescent lights. You find yourself face to face with the waxen faces of founding family of this island, all of its historical figures. You find yourself in the Wax Museum in the center of town, in its back room. And one of the faces that you're looking at, the one that's right in front of you, it's wearing different clothes, but you could swear that it looks just like you. But that's where we're going to end this session.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. And cut to credits, because that was a lot.
And that's where we'll start today. So, Pretty Marsh Harbor has many secrets, some of them big, some of them small, a few of them terrifying. Ray, what is one thing that is true about this scene?
That in the midst of all that is kind of happening, and when Staley was kind of like moving around and calling out the names of her friends, that like she kicked over a box and out of the box fell a flashlight. So like there's like a bunch of stuff at her feet right now. And if she like picks up like right where the mannequin is, almost like touching where the mannequin would be, there's a flashlight.
You can see it spinning around on the floor before it kind of hits the foot of the wax mannequin, the wax figure there, and then comes to a stop. You've got these overhead fluorescent lights that are sort of flickering. So it goes from dark to this eerie, stark light. And the truth that I'm going to add to the beginning of this scene for Staley is this wax figure of herself that she's face to face with right now. It's her 10 years older, wearing the same clothes that she's wearing when she returns to the island in 10 years. And because of our curse, this is one of our audience things that were given to us last session. Staley, you're the only one who is able to remember everything that's happened in game, even the things that haven't happened to you yet. You remember it all, but you can't tell anybody about it. What do you do?
I think like with the flickering light, she still is going to grab the flashlight just in case, because I don't trust these lights to stay on much longer. And I think as she picks it up, she kind of like has one of those moments where she like looks at the figure and then like follows it up as she stands, and really has that sudden realization of like, oh my God, like this is me. And with seeing everything and playing back kind of playing forward, I guess, the future events, and she's like in a state of shock for a moment before I think she like I'd walk all the way around the figure to make sure it was an actual figure and like kind of like push it a little, because I think she's having a moment of like, is this me from the future visiting me from the past? Like, is this a real thing or is this a real wax statue?
Absolutely. Go ahead and roll me smarts.
Okay, so in 2010, I have 4 for smarts. So let's hope. Okay, cool.
So all you need is a 4 or higher, which you got on one of the dice. You're able to name one truth as you walk around this wax figure, and it's not the only one in this room. This is the back room of the museum. Most of the figures here are in displays. They represent historic figures from the island's past. They have plaques and names and even a little bit of history tied to them. What is one thing that is true about your figure as you're examining it?
As she walks around it and kind of inspects it closely and pushes it, she realizes that it really is a wax figure. It's not real. But as she kind of gets closer to it, she realizes that the hair on the man, like on the wax figure, is like her real hair. Almost kind of like Miss Toothaker's like dolls. It kind of like reminds her instantly of that moment. And she's like, this is my real hair. And she kind of like holds it for a second before being creeped out and like letting it go.
And as you're examining it too, and you're realizing that it's not actually real, you can tell because the skin is sort of melted like wax becomes. It looks like you, but a terrifying version of yourself. You just happen to recognize those clothes and the general likeness. And the fluorescent lights, as you're examining yourself, go out again. You're left in the dark.
I will attempt to turn on the flashlight to see if that will work.
It turns on. I think you have to like hit it against your hand a couple of times to get it going, and kind of flickers a few times. And as you turn it on, you cast it around. What's Staley's next move?
Can I go up to the other wax figures in the room and see if they actually look like the founding, like, people of the island, or if they look like my friends? Because now I'm creeped out.
Absolutely. Are you looking for someone in particular, or are you just going one by one, just sort of shining your flashlight?
I'm almost kind of like an interrogation. I go up to each one of them and kind of just like really quickly shine it on their face and see if any one of them kind of stick out at all to me.
You move past several of them, shining your light on. Have you ever visited the Wax Museum before? Is this your first time being here?
No, but in the back room, yes. I would assume this is like the storage area, right?
It's the off limits, like the private room of the museum that's dedicated to the founding families and the historic figures. You have to pay extra to be able to access it.
Yeah, I think she probably would have seen it maybe once or twice, like if there was like a field trip for school or something like that, but I don't think she's ever gone there on her own will.
You go past the first face, and it's the face of Robert Dupree, one of the founders of Pretty Marsh. And he's dressed in what you would look sort of like pilgrim's clothes, or like old-timey, maybe late 1800s clothes. Very proper, and he's got this very straight back, this very like uncaring gaze, but just like with the other wax figures, the skin's melted. It's not quite real. And you pass to the second. And this one is Robert Toothaker. Robert Toothaker's dressed in a preacher's frock. He's got a gaunt face, very, very narrow cheekbones, and he's got cold, almost damning, accusing eyes. And as you pass by, you almost go on to the third figure in this row, but your flashlight, it catches a glint, a reflection off of an old woodman's axe that's in the hand of Robert Toothaker's figure. And in that moment, you can see a little bit of what looks like fresh blood dripping from the axe to the ground. Just a subtle tink, tink, tink.
Staley would, as calmly as possible, just kind of like almost like acting. She'd be pretty much acting calm at this moment, but kind of like shine the flashlight around, just like giving it a general look to be like, oh, nothing's here. And then just like kind of slowly but very confidently turn around and start making her way for any exit door that she sees. Like she's not gonna wanna do anything. Like she wants to get out of there now.
You see in the back towards what would lead out to the rest of the museum, the front of the museum, one of those overhead red exit signs over a set of double doors with those sort of push bar handles that you can go through. And as you head towards the exit sign, your flashlight catches the silhouette of a figure standing in front of the door. Broad shoulders, kind of hunched over just a little bit, but pretty tall. You see the scorched face of Mr. McGinty just standing there. You can hear him wheezing in the dark, though his lungs don't work right anymore after all the injuries he suffered, just sort of...
Mr. McGinty, are you okay? Do you need some help?
He just keeps wheezing. He doesn't move, but he's watching you. You can see his eyes reflecting off of your flashlight. You can see the burn marks that are sort of your fault on his face. And something rattles and crashes to the ground behind you, and you feel something brush up against your back.
I think she would like instinctively kind of like lurch a little bit forward and then kind of realize that going forward will be into kind of Mr. McGinty, and then almost have one of those like stammering moments where she's like, I don't want to go forward, I don't want to go backwards. So it's like this like and she will crap. She's gonna attempt to look back to see what that was.
You turn around and cast the flashlight behind you. You see two figures. One, Robert Toothaker, standing in the middle of this aisleway now, still waxing. That axe still in his hand. But he starts to take a slow step. That wax figure starts to move, and his mouth drops more and more agape. That wax bleeding material that makes up his face stretches further and further downward. And you can hear behind you as McGinty continues to wheeze. You see another figure on the ground behind Robert Toothaker. Roll me a desperate cool roll.
Cool. I got a whopping 2. I would like to add... I'd like to add one of my extra dice. Yeah, I'll add one of my extra dice to make it 3.
You get to roll 3. Yeah, and you just need a 5 or a 6 on one of these.
Yes.
So you get to name one truth about what happens next as you are stuck between these two figures, and there's something else or someone else on the ground behind Robert Toothaker in the middle of this aisle.
Okay. I will say, there is, oh my goodness. In the hand of one of the other wax figures, not on the same side, but on the opposite side of the room, there is a, it's like woman, and she's holding like a broom or something with like a stick. And Staley is going to attempt to go and grab that stick out of, she's just gonna try and run over and grab it as fast as she can so she can get in like a defensive stance with it.
You grab like what would pass as like an old, it almost looks like a witch's broom. It's that sort of style, that old broom, and you snatch it out of the hand. You can swear that the woman's face, maybe one of the wives of one of the founding fathers, begins to turn towards you slowly as you grab it from her. And you can hear the clump, 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 clump as Robert Toothaker begins to move down the aisle towards you. What do you do, Staley?
I'm going to, like a very awful Darth Maul grip, like right in the center, just my hands of the, like, gripping it as tight as I possibly can. I'm going to scream, "Get the fuck away from me!" And I'm just going to start, like, almost like General Grievous, just like start going back and forth and like whipping this broom handle as hard as possible to try to get them to back away as I make my way towards the exit.
You are knocking down wax figures, some of them starting to move, some of them not moving. You catch one that's starting to turn towards you, and you're just able, in your flashlight, able to see that it looks a lot like Merrill. It's a striking resemblance. It's not Merrill, but maybe a relation, maybe an old relation, and then you catch it in the face and it goes down, and now you can hear the scraping of that fire axe against the ground faster and faster as Robert Toothaker is coming after you. And you can see, because you're getting closer to the exit, the outline of McGinty there, wheezing, starting to say a word again and again. Talk, talk, talk.
Nope.
Roll me a desperate grit roll.
I have 2 in grit, so I'm going to use my last extra dice to make that 3. Oh, yeah, okay.
That's good enough. That's good. So you get to name a truth about what happens next.
I catch Mr. McGinty in like the solar plexus enough to like jam him down and make him stumble backwards, just enough of a space so that I can dip out behind him and like run out the exit.
You push through that double door and you find yourself a moment later as McGinty's wheezing behind you, starting to reach for the door before it shuts on him, out in the alleyway out behind the wax museum. And the truth that I'll add here, Staley, is that there's one final waxen figure outside here on the ground in a mangle of limbs, all twisted up. It looks just like Jae in 10 years. Jae, this is, I'll let you describe this, Jae. This is the position that Jae falls into when he falls down that trap door. And if he says anything or does anything interacting with Staley now, imagine it as perhaps his final moments in 2020. What does Staley see?
I think that he just repeats. I'm trying to remember who I said it to. I wasn't sure if it was Staley, if it was Wren. I think it was Wren, but I think that he just says, "Run." That's the last things he says.
And just like with the other wax figures, Staley, his face is drooping more and more. It's almost like that wax is melting.
Staley would have a minute where she like stared at it in absolute morbid disbelief. And then as it starts to kind of melt, that whole like ringing of the same word, just run, run, run. And she takes off and starts running towards the orphanage.
Staley, you run through this back street away from the town, and as you're running away, the street lights start to go out behind you faster and faster and faster and faster, and your flashlight begins to flicker on and off, and then off. You find yourself in the dark. You open your eyes, and you are awake the next morning. Where does Staley wake up in the orphanage? Was she in her room? Was she somewhere else?
She would probably be in her room. Yeah. I think the bed at this point wouldn't be against the door anymore. She would have pushed everything back and reorganized things at some point. So yeah, I think she would have been in her room, probably over the covers with like a book on her chest, and then like completely wakes up and like throws the book by mistake. Kind of like has this whole like coming awake from a very real sort of nightmare, breathing heavy, like, and like just looks around to like do the whole double check of like, I'm in my room, I'm okay, I am safe, like I'm not in a wax museum right now, but like very much has one of those like jarring moments awake.
There's a bird outside your window, just sort of chirping. The sun is kind of coming through at an angle, giving a nice bit of brightness to your room in the morning. You remember your dream as vividly as if it were real, and you remember everything that happened before. It does take a moment. It's always a moment where you have to kind of uncling yourself to your experience to wake up. And as you're sort of examining your room, roll me one last desperate empathy roll.
Cool. I have a 5 in empathy in 2010, so.
Nice.
Hey.
Good rolls.
The dice are with me tonight. Yeah, the dice are with me tonight. After last session of almost failing every roll I made, yeah, they're with me.
So you get to introduce one truth about this scene in your room.
With the bird outside, I think Staley would walk to the window, and for the first time in a while, the scene that she sees outside is very almost kind of like reminiscent from the first time that she sat in the attic and had that like kind of looming glare outside. It's almost the same angle, but it's like peaceful, and it's like comforting for a smallest moment that she's had in what seems like a long time.
It is a beautiful day. It's 65 degrees, 9 a.m. in the morning. One of the last good days of summer, probably. You know how quickly the seasons change here. And it is. The bird chirps, it looks at you, and there's that moment of peace. And the broom is sitting in the corner of your room, just laying there in the corner of your room. Same broom that you remember from your dream, that old thing from the wax museum.
She is like, after kind of having just literally 3 seconds of peace, and looks over and kind of sees the broom, Staley's gonna walk over to it and pick it up and like kind of hold it in her hand, like speaking to it. She says, I don't know what you want, but I know I can't give it to you, and I know you can't have it. And she's going to attempt to throw the broom out the window in a teenage rage fashion that doesn't make any sense, but she's going to attempt to do it because she doesn't want it in her room.
You do. You throw it out the window. It goes flying off into some bushes. And I think it's at this point that you can hear there's movement downstairs, voices, energy.
She'll kind of like have this moment after she throws it out of being like, okay, well, like the problem's solved. Like this moment of naive, just today's gonna be a good day. I'm gonna get a good day. Let's something. And she'll get dressed out of whatever clothes she was wearing. And then yeah, she'll get dressed and go downstairs and try to meet up with everybody.
And today is the day where Merrill and Wren are enacting their plan to leave the island and go to the Bangor Mall on the mainland, where there's a movie theater and shops. There's an old arcade there and even some putt-putt golf. It's a mall. It's a rundown mall, but it's a mall. And let's reconvene downstairs. What I want to know, and I want to start with Merrill here because you're the one planning the outing today. So what's the plan? What's Merrill have set up here for them?
So there is no bridge to the mainland. The ferry is the only way across. You can't drive. The car parks on the thing. It takes the car.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. So I'm going to call the car service, right? Where I'm running up a massive bill in expectation of when I turn 18 and inherit the money. So Merrill this is the interim before Rick's rich. And I would also like to have this be right around the time that his lawyer is called, and it's starting to look like the clouds are parting and the probate is over, and Merrill's about to know for sure that 100% of the inheritance will go to him when he's 18, which is just a few months away. So he'd like to call the car and have them pick everybody up, and we're going to go to the mall and see this movie. Merrill knows nothing about it. Something about a pilgrim. Thanksgiving movie, I don't know.
So I want to know what everybody's plans are. So Merrill's taking anybody who wants to go to the mall onto what kind of car is this? Like car service? What does Merrill call?
It's a black Escalade.
Okay.
4-door. Come on.
So I want to know what everybody else's plans are. Are they going with Merrill to the mall? And let's start with Wren. What's Wren's plans and hopes for the day?
Wren is so stoked to go to the mall with Merrill. I don't think she even remembers the last time she was off of this island. It's probably been years. Like probably years, yeah. She just doesn't leave. She's so excited to go and see Scott Pilgrim versus the World because she has a crush on Michael Cera because he's a cutie.
How does Wren dress? Like, what's Wren's preparations for the mall?
Wren's not like super like girly or into fashion or anything. Gigi probably like French braids my hair or something. Like she doesn't do anything like to make herself like look better or anything. She's 14, she doesn't care yet.
I think Gigi would loan you her lip gloss for today because this is an important day, as we've discussed many times.
Just in case I see Michael Cera at this movie.
Yeah. Or maybe it's a date with Merrill. I'm kind of confused about the arrangement, but I'll loan you my lip gloss.
I think that she's just like, oh, he offered to take me somewhere and I've like never really been to see a movie, and so she's just like so stoked. She does not see this as a date with Merrill. She thinks that Merrill's like her older brother.
And what's Merrill? How's Merrill go to the movies? How does he prepare?
This is not a date. It should be made clear that Wren, who is, I don't think he's, I was thinking earlier today, Merrill, I don't think has ever called her Birdie. I don't remember him having done that. And Wren hid his shoebox under her bed and refused payment, and he's now obligated, to take her to the movies. She wants to do this thing. We're going to do this thing. So whatever. We had a long night last night, and I just need to get in the car. I need to get the hell off this island. There isn't even a freaking IHOP on this thing. It's cursed. I saw a giant crab in the water. I just need a cup of coffee. I need to walk around the mall for a few minutes. Might get a smoothie. Might get a large popcorn with no butter. So, Merrill's good. Merrill is dressed all in black. He wears this every day. Need I say more?
No, perfect. What about, I want to know about Jacob. What's Jacob's plans for the day? And if you want to share, Josh, anything about like what you think Jacob's morning's like, because he had it was an eventful day for everyone yesterday. The lighthouse collapsed. You saw a giant crab in the water. Guns were involved. How's Jacob doing today?
He's trying to focus on like one thing, and that is like, he's going out with Ray. They're going with Staley. Sorry, they're going to do something at the mall tonight. So, like, he's doing all the terrible things. Like, he's going to spend like 2 hours getting ready, mostly just like staring at all his clothes and realizing none of them. He has nothing to wear. He has nothing to wear. Mostly because like he hasn't done laundry recently. So there's just a mad panic for all of that. Like he's just like, oh God, like I really should have like taken care of this. And then like a lot of Davidoff cool water cologne, too much. Then trying to like wash that off. It's just a clusterfuck. So I think for like there's a lot of nerves, and after a while, it's sort of like I feel like the room is a disaster. And as Merrill is also like in the room trying to get ready, Jacob is trying really hard to seem like he's got everything under control, but he really doesn't, and he doesn't know what to do. So he's just manic and frantic, and yeah, that's how it's going.
Cool.
I'm hoping nothing terrible happens as well.
Probably not. I think you've all been through enough, if you ask me. Staley, as you hear everybody getting ready downstairs, what are Staley's plans for the day as she's sort of coming out of this dream and readjusting to actually being here in her room?
Yeah, I think Staley like takes an extra long sort of morning after that whole waking up debacle, and then with the broom, I think like her morning takes a little bit longer than usual, takes an extra long shower, even if it turns cold, like, and gets ready with the most like clean and nicest thing she can put on, which is just like her most favorite band t-shirt, and ends up going downstairs like fully, like she packs a little backpack too because she's going to the mall. She's going like off island, so she packs like a little backpack with her with like an extra sweater and another hat. I don't know. She's 15. She doesn't really have anything to take with her, but yeah, I think she like gets ready slowly and then decides on going to the mall and being like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to make today a good day. We're going to the mall. It'll be fine. Like, has a pep talk for the day, basically.
What about Gigi? What's Gigi doing in the morning? What are her plans for the day?
So I think Gigi wakes up in one of those what day is it kind of moods, and she just goes downstairs on autopilot and begins making breakfast in the normal way, getting out everyone's favorite cereals, making sure there's enough milk. She lets Cullen the cat out, puts on the coffee for Mr. Toothaker kind of thing. And then as she's doing that, she catches the timer on the microwave and kind of stares at it for a few minutes, and it kind of hits her what she plans to do today. And then she begins racking through her mind the memory of the tours of the lighthouse and the history of the lighthouse and the project she's done on the damn lighthouse, because that's where everything was going on. So that's what she wants to research today. As everyone's getting ready, she helps Wren, does the hair, gives her lip gloss, kind of chit-chats. And I can't remember if Staley or Gigi have Gigi's phone right now, but Gigi will make sure that Staley has it so that if there's an emergency, Staley can be the sensible one to be able to contact people. Because kind of under her breath, like, she doesn't really trust Merrill to keep Wren safe.
It's fair. I think there's a moment, Gigi, while you're kind of rushing around in the morning and helping the other kids prepare for their trip, since you're staying in town, let's say there's a moment where you hear the back door swing open and then close, and you can see just sort of through the window Mr. Toothaker, the old man who is technically your only caretaker now. He's had a rough few days ever since his sister died. He's been drinking a lot. He's been very reclusive. But you see him out on the back patio, and there's some like birthday streamers from your birthday that was like a week ago. It's still kind of, rain soaked and muddy now, but they're still out in the backyard. And he sort of is out there with a mug of coffee from the coffee that you've made. He's just slowly, very slowly picking up some of the debris and birthday streamers and starting to clean up a bit in the backyard.
I think Gigi will peel an orange and kind of slice it up and put it in a bowl, and then go out as if she's taking him like a breakfast snack type thing, and discuss how last winter the drainage pipey things, the gutters, that's what they're called, got clogged with like leaves and debris, and just kind of make like chit chat about that as she's providing sliced orange to her adopted dad.
Mr. Toothaker does that old man thing. I don't know if you've ever seen this, where they'll take like a slice of orange and they'll bite it and then they'll smile at you. So they have like this big orange smile instead, and he sort of sucks on some of the juice and he listens to you for a bit. And after a minute, he's looking around the backyard and he says, I don't know how I'm ever gonna keep this place now by myself. It's funny. Miss Toothaker, she always did so much. I never really thought about it. Now it's all I can think about, seems like.
You'll figure it out. And you got all of us to help.
Oh,
I could
nice.
draw up a chore rota, and Birdie's got those stickers, so I could even, make it look nice for the younger kids.
It's a lot of responsibility, Gigi, taking care of this house. A lot of little things that you don't think about. Most people wouldn't think about. Just kind of add up over time. Nice of you to offer to help, but I don't know what I'm going to do once you kids are gone.
Well, there'll always be more kids, right? That's the way this place goes. There's always been a Seawall Orphanage.
That's true.
I mean, look at the pictures up on the stairs. All those children have lived here.
It's before my time, to be honest. But I suppose each of us has a turn.
Well, what else would you do? I mean, if you give up on us, then who's gonna look after us?
Don't you worry, Gigi. I know it's been hard recently, and I know I haven't said much since the funeral, but I'm gonna look after you. I'm gonna take real good care of you.
If it's money, Mr. Toothaker, why didn't you just ask Merrill? He's been offering Wren $1,000 for keeping a box under her bed.
Is that right? What sort of
Sure.
box?
You know, the kind of shoe boxes we all get when we're dumped here, right? Little bits of paperwork, records. I know, maybe it's his passport.
Alright.
You know, Wren's got the box with the CDs in. The same kind of thing. And then I think she has a moment where she remembers that Merrill had the gun, and she's like, I wonder if that's where he keeps the extra bullets. And now she's like, I really should get to my room and go and look at what's in that box.
Gigi, would you make sure that, Jay's alright? It wasn't that long ago that he was in the hospital, and I just haven't had the time to... Well, I've not done a good job of taking care of you. That's gonna change from here on out, but would you mind checking on him for me?
I think his leg's kind of sore, but he's getting around pretty good with his crutches, and we got that old wheelchair up from the basement to push him around in.
Well...
You know, the wicker one?
Forgot about that. Oh, that's...
The wheel's a little wonky, but it works.
Thank you for the coffee, Gigi. I'm afraid I should get to work now. He takes another bite, another slice of orange, and he smiles again. And it's that orange smile. As he sort
And
of
Gigi
walks
hates
back.
it for a second time because it reminds her of various nightmares she's had involving the smiling man.
And then he's gone inside the house.
I think she spends a couple of extra minutes out there tidying up as if, you know, it's going to actually make a difference. But she'll, like, grab the broom, she'll give the deck a quick sweep, she'll grab any streamers that she can see, making little kind of hopping jumps to pull them down if they're stuck up on the roof or anything. And then once that's done, she hurries to the trash, throws away anything, and then she's going straight for those stairs to go up to her room because she really wants to know what's in that box.
Let's check in on Jay. So, Tommy, what's Jay's morning like, and what's Jay's plans for the day?
Jay's morning is a little frustrating due to the fact that he doesn't currently have his crutches because those were lost in the lighthouse accident, and so he's having to, like, and everyone's so busy with everything else they're doing today, and so Jay is having to, like, try and get around on his own between a combination of the rickety wheelchair that he absolutely doesn't like using, and, like, the shoddy railing in the house. Like, if there's railing, he can get around, sort of, right? Like, he can, like, 1 foot, hold on to the rail, limp around, you know, sticking close to walls to try and get around. Trying to shower and get cleaned up this morning was difficult. So he's having a bit of a rough morning. But his plan, and he would ask if perhaps Merrill could drop him off near the lumber mill. The car, you know, the nice car.
I like that. So, like, Merrill, I imagine Merrill in the group is like, you're almost ready to go. Your car's going to be there soon. And Jay finds you, Merrill. Say, maybe like down in the, I want to say it's in the living room near the front door, that one that Miss Toothaker keeps all the furniture wrapped in plastic. Everything's wrapped in plastic. What do you
How's it
say?
going?
It's fine.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
Merrill.
Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. I pull up some of the plastic and I lick my finger. I just touch the couch.
That is very gross, Merrill. That is very
It's gross, right?
unsanitary, and
Well,
you don't know how long these sheets have been here.
this plastic barrier will protect you from my saliva on the couch. What can I do for you, brother? What's up? How are you feeling?
I'm just great, Merrill. I'm doing fine. You and Wren are going to the mainland today.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit up the mall.
You going?
No, I have something else I need to take care of, but I was wondering, you were getting a car, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Could you drop me off by the lumber mill? I need to see about finding some replacement crutches, since I lost the other ones.
You're going to the mill for crutches?
I'm trying not to. I don't have... I need something to hold in until I can get some proper ones. So something that I can just use as a...
I'll take you to CVS and get you some
Proper.
crutches, man.
There's
What do
no
you want to go to the
CVS
mill
on this.
for?
I need something cheap until I can get something proper.
All right.
Don't worry about it, Merrill.
You got your phone on you?
Does Jay have a phone? I don't think I've ever established this. I don't think Jay has a phone. He just uses the one from the house. I don't have a phone. A cell phone.
All right. That's far out. Listen. My family goes way back with the lumber mill, so I was just curious. You know, there's long back and forth, and I haven't been there in years and years and years. And so, you know, I was just wondering why you wanted to go down there for something I could get you at a drugstore. But whatever. You know, we'll take you anywhere you want to go. You know, it's been through a lot. So yeah, it's going to be here in a few minutes. So we'll just drop you off.
Yep.
Cool. This room gives me the creeps, and I gotta use the men's room.
There is no difference. They're all just bathrooms. Here, Merrill.
I know that. All right, Les, it's great talking to you.
No, you
Cool.
did. Yep.
This was great. Excuse me. I'm going to step around the coffee table and around you. All right. Hey, doing great.
I think as sort of Merrill leaves, like Jay just sort of gives one of those looks where like he just drops the smile that he's been trying to give Merrill. He's just like,
Let's I want to check in on one more thing before we start to adventure out for the rest of the day. I want to check in on Gigi going back upstairs. What is Gigi's plan here exactly?
So I imagine Gigi has waited for Wren to be down having breakfast or whatever, and she's kind of taken the stairs two at a time to go up to their room. Then in the normal way they do, she kind of pushes the bed up against the door so people can't come in, or whatever piece of furniture is, they normally slide there. And then she's going for under Wren's bed, because that's the last place she remembers Wren hiding this box. And so she kind of lifts up the quilt, pushes back anything extra, and is looking for the box.
Is the box still underneath the bed? It is, right?
It is.
Travis, do you want to describe what this box looks like, what Gigi would find?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do, Don. Thanks for asking. Let me just move some tabs around here.
I think Travis is going to kill me after this game. I think my name is on the list.
Can you hear me? I'm frozen.
Yes. No,
Can
you're
you
good.
hear me? Okay. All right, good. All right, here we go. It's a black bass shoebox. Rolled up inside a grocery store t-shirt. It's red. It's a polo. Wrapped up in a gross t-shirt, and you'll see it has a name tag. Merrill got to make name tags. It says Merrill Gross on it. Shop Gross and Save. And an apron. And it's and all the stuff that you're going to find is rolled up in this t-shirt and apron to keep it from moving around inside the box. There's $15,000 in cash in little bundles in groups of 5,000. There's a 1969 Rolex Daytona. This is known as the Paul Newman. It's an extremely expensive watch. It's about a $200,000 watch. There's also a 1910 Browning 32 with 7 bullets in the clip. This is an antique pistol. There's also a very used dog-eared paperback titled The Eyes of the Fire by E. Strebeck, published by Hawthorne Press, 1987. It is well read and dog-eared and has a spooky Saul Bass-like cover of a fireball with flames coming out of the top with an eye in the middle of it. And that's it.
I'm so happy I opened this box because I know what that book is. Alright, so I love you, Trav. So this is what Gigi does. At first she's shocked and she just kind of wants to shove everything back in, but then she remembers she told Mr. Toothaker about this box. And so what she does is she takes that bundle out and she moves it over to her bed, and then she lifts up her mattress, pulls out the envelope that has her money in it, and puts that in the box. Because she needs to go and ask Merrill some questions, but Mr. Toothaker is going to expect something in this box. And it's not $15,000 that Gigi pulls out from under the mattress, but it's all of her savings. And she will put that in there, because at least that way Mr. Toothaker will find something. And then all of that stuff that's wrapped up in that apron and the polo and everything, she's going to hide in the closet.
Where does she hide it in the closet?
So I imagine there's let's see, there's a gym bag, like a sports bag for her swim team, and I think she shoves it in her swim bag, because no one goes in a swim bag apart from the person whose swim bag it is. That's her thinking, and it's not swim season, so there's no reason to wash anything that's in there, so it's all kind of shoved into this swim bag.
Awesome. And then once Gigi's finished the swap, what does she do next?
I think she looks back at that box a couple of times because she knows that she's just handed over everything she has. And I think she goes back to the swim bag and she gets that watch and she puts it on her wrist and then pulls down her hoodie to cover it. She doesn't know that this watch is a really expensive watch. To her, it's an old watch, and she wants to go and see how Merrill reacts later. She's got a plan, like if Merrill fucks up later, she's gonna go for Merrill with this watch. But she kind of just tucks it under her hoodie. She's got a high school hoodie on, I guess, ready to go to the library today. She ties up her hair, grabs a notebook and a couple of pens, regrets not having her phone, and kind of sets out towards the library. She's got stuff to do today, and part of her doesn't want to watch all her friends leave to go off island to go and have fun. So she's just kind of getting out before they do.
All right. Before we head off, the last person I want to check in with is Jacob. Jacob, what else do you get up to in the morning? What are your plans here?
There we go. Unmuted. Jacob is like gonna finish getting ready, and is going to wait until he's gonna wait until everything sort of settled down, and Jacob goes to Gigi's room, making sure that no one is there, and is going to check under her mattress and realize that her money is gone.
Now, let's specify too. This is not the first time that he's done this, I'm guessing.
Remember, Charlie, when you asked if your money ever went missing and there was an anonymous vote, and Don told you that sometimes your money goes missing?
This is part of our session 0.
You know what's worse about this? You didn't even buy me my lip gloss. You stole that from grocers. So you didn't even spend money on me for my birthday.
No,
you were the worst.
I thought that was better. I thought me not giving you a lip gloss that you bought with your own money would be better. Anyway,
I'm glad you got vomited on by that guy on your way home.
So can I see if I can find her new hiding place?
You can roll me smarts.
Let me just check how many. Oh, I don't actually have it. I feel so bad. I was hoping it would never come up, but I'm a terrible friend.
We made Charlie close her eyes. Everybody had to close their eyes and raise their hands if they've ever stolen from Gigi.
I want to know if I'm the only one. I want to know, but like I don't know. I just know I do. Okay, so sorry, I've just got to check. Okay, that is. So, believe that I'm going to spend an extra dice for this because I have 4, so it makes sense to use one.
We're also down 1 hour now, so you'll have to subtract a die.
Yeah, so I'm gonna roll just as standard with my extra dice. So that is 2010 smarts 3. Okay. I do not.
Dice. This is a regular roll.
Oh,
this is not a desperate roll. So you just need a 4. You get to name a truth. And that truth can be that you find it, or it could be something else you find.
I am looking for Gigi's money, and instead, in her swim bag, I find a gun, and
it has 7 rounds loaded.
And I'm like, I don't know what to do. And like, he's just standing there for a moment, and she's got extra money and stuff. And like, the first thing that goes through his mind is someone paid her to shoot Jay. That's where the money came from. That's why she has a gun. And he's had it wrong the entire time. And then he's like, no, wait, hold on. And he's like trying to figure all this out in his head. He's like, oh, okay. Is it, Merrill, is it exactly 1,500? Like
15,000.
Mm.
In
$15,000 in $100 bills.
In $100 bill.
I take 1 from the middle of one roll. Like,
they're in the bands. They're in the paper bands in groups of 5.
So I will slide 1 out and then place it back, and then really contemplate the gun for a minute. And then I imagine like he hears footsteps in the corridor, and he will like slip out of the room. And actually, just before he goes, he's going to just thumb the pages of the book real quick, just to check that the book isn't hollowed out. Because now he feels like he doesn't know who Gigi is, so he's going to like check to see if it's like got a cutout in the middle or anything like that.
Does it have anything on the inside? Anything, or any? If he opened it up, would he see any passages highlighted? Is there anything special about the inside of this book, Travis?
Okay, ask me that question one more time.
Is there anything special about the inside of the book? Like, are the pages hollowed out, or is there a passage highlighted?
I think there's a scrap of paper tucked in it somewhere in Merrill's handwriting that says 3 things. The least of our brothers, all things move toward their end, and give me things that don't last long. And then there's a page with notes on the definition of his name that printed off the internet and highlighted. Merrill meaning water, and gross meaning the various different. So like a name website, you know what I mean? And gross meaning lots of. So yeah, those are the only 2 things in the book, and it's been read. And there's parts that are underlined, and someone has read the shit out of this book.
So Jacob's going to take that $100 bill and try and fit it back in, realizing this is Merrill's book, and then realize he can't put the money back, so he's going to hold on to it and deeply now regret, because he realizes he's just stolen from Merrill and not Gigi, and Merrill is a lunatic. So he's just gonna like crumple up the note so it's like really crumpled and looks well worn and everything like that, and he will like dog ear it slightly, stuff it in his best pair of skinny jeans, and get the fuck out of here.
You stole one $100 bill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Roll me a desperate quickness roll, Jacob.
I'm going to spend another dice.
Okay. All right. And you're -1 too, so that'll cancel out the one you're missing.
That is a pair of 6s.
Yep. So you hear like footsteps coming up the stairs as you're slipping out. You get to name one truth though, as you leave the room behind.
Has anyone left yet? Is the car?
No,
like,
I think everybody's just about to leave. Yeah, I imagine. Let's say maybe the car's like just pulled up outside.
He like, I'm gonna say that it's that he runs into Staley, and instead of looking pleased to see her, for their like night, he just looks like pale and terrified, and really nervous. And
you okay? You look like you saw a ghost.
What? No.
You ready to go?
Yeah. Like, super ready. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Let's go.
No, what's going on? What's up? Do you not want to go? We don't have to go.
No. Oh God. Oh shit. No, it's not. It's not that. Look, I do want to go. I'm kind of, and like, been out in a while with like, because I'm just. Fuck.
Let's just. It's okay. It's fine. No, don't worry about it.
It's chill, right?
Everything's fine. We're cool. And she'll like take his hand and like just try and like lead him down the stairs to like get ready to leave.
He will like hold her hand quite tightly, but like, yeah, he's like partially not there for a few moments, and then he's just like, yeah, sure, and he'll put his arm around her and they'll walk down to the car. And
I love it. Then let's go. So Merrill, you're leading this expedition and you're taking Jay to the lumber mill first. Is that correct?
Yeah. Tell the driver first to go to the mill, and then we're going to go on over to Bangor, and then I proceed to sit in the back seat and return a voicemail from my lawyer.
Would anybody would be able to hear you return the voicemail, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So what's this voicemail? What are you saying?
Okay. He,
you don't have.
Not going to do the whole thing, beat for beat, but he's basically like, first off, he fakes friends with his lawyer. First off, he's kind of working him right back, right? And kind of being a little bit of a prick about it. But also, like, Merrill dodged a massive bullet and owes this guy 1,000 favors, right? So, such as a petulant, spoiled 17-year-old with dead parents and a multi-million-dollar inheritance in the balance can be over the phone, that's the energy in the car. And it's awkward, right? Like, it's not super fun to be around. It's kind of weird. And he's kind of got a chip about the whole thing. And obviously, he's 100 miles away thinking about whatever he's thinking about. But basically, he confirms that all of that is great to hear. And he's got some simple things to say yes and no to. And he gets a schedule and like a date here in a week or so where he's got to go sign everything. He's got to go do something in person. And it's not for a week or so. And then that's going to lock it in so that there's a account waiting for me on my 18th birthday that I walk in and take control of. So that's what he basically sets up over the phone, and he really doesn't give a shit whether or not you guys hear it. And not being obnoxious about it, but he can't read the room, that this is not the time to have a normal conversation with your lawyer about this massive thing that's going to change your life.
So everyone hears that, and I imagine that if Merrill's in the back, like it's a pretty large car, probably have Staley and Jacob together, maybe Jay's up in the front in the side seat with the driver. And a lot of you drive off first to the lumber mill, which is in the eastern woods, like not too far southeast of the orphanage itself. So it's a short ride. And then the car cuts back west through Main Street in the town, all the way to the docks, to the harbor, where you can catch that ferry. And it's like we described before. You get on the ferry, you have to drive the car and dock onto the ferry, and the ferry drives sails across the body of water all the way to Bangor, Maine, where there's another dock. The whole process, it takes a while. There's only a certain number of times the ferry comes through per day. But after, spending a good deal of time to travel a relatively short distance, the four of you who are heading to Bangor off island, you arrive at Bangor Mall. Now, this mall, it's run down. It's got faded pastel-colored walls and shop fronts that look like they haven't been updated much since the 1980s. It's sort of a relic out of time almost. A lot of its shops are closed, even though the signs still exist. There's a few local stores. There's some tourists here. It's not super busy, but there's a Hot Topic and various storefronts. There's a putt-putt mini golf and an old arcade. And there's the Bangor movie theater. A food court, pretty much anything you'd want to find in a mall. You can almost find anything here. It's just a little shoddier than most places, but it's what you have. So as we're introducing this scene, I want to know from, let's say, Wren. I think, Wren, you step out of the car, you're the first into the mall, and you can see people moving about, young people, old people, tourists, more than a few teenagers. Not teenagers from your island, but teenagers from Bangor and other nearby towns. And as you enter into the mall, Wren, what is one thing, one truth you want to add about this scene?
I think that Wren has only left the island very few times, and she probably doesn't even realize that this mall is run down. She's just this place is magic.
Is there any particular store or feature of the mall that Wren is most surprised to see? Something that catches her eye?
Oh yeah, the food court is probably just mind-blowing.
It's you don't have any fast food really, besides the Crab and Go on the island, right? So there's McDonald's and there's a Chick-fil-A, there's a number of fast food restaurants.
Oh shit, is it Sunday?
Yes.
Oh my god, of course it is.
It's a horror game, of course of course it's Sunday.
That's the most horrible thing in this game.
The truth I want to add to this scene is that by the time you arrive, you're looking at the movie times, the Bangor movie theater, the times listed outside, and you only have about 15 minutes before the next showing of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. If you don't make that one, then there's no way you can both see the movie and catch the ferry back home to the island today.
Well,
and I think
we've got to see this movie.
There's not time to catch the ferry home in the car?
You can't. You can catch this movie in 15 minutes, and you'll be able to catch the last ferry back to the island. But if you miss this movie time, if you wait for the next movie time, then you'll miss the last ferry for the day.
Okay, so I'm looking at my watch. You know, Merrill's nice watch. It's not a Daytona, but it's nothing to sneeze at. And I think, okay, well, kind of rattles it on his wrist. Okay, well, look, everybody, Wren wanted to see the movie. Okay, so the mission's a failure if Wren doesn't see this movie, the Pilgrim movie. So if y'all want to go get your hair done or do some, black light golf or have some Dippin' Dots or something, y'all go do it or join us. But we're gonna get in there, okay? And hey, popcorn's on me. All right, so either way, good talk.
Staley, do you want to see the movie or do you want to do whatever?
We could go hang out. I mean, they have a hot
Yeah,
topic.
sure. And I will
to go
immediately try and walk away from this. I don't want to see the movie at all.
Have fun. If you need us, we'll be around.
Yeah, just
All right.
text me when you.
Yeah, stay out of trouble.
I do have Gigi's phone, so if you need us, we have Gigi's phone.
Okay.
Okay. Wren, they have Gigi's phone.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see y'all later.
Have fun.
Bye,
Please.
guys.
As the two groups set up, please describe to me how the entrance that Merrill and Wren make into the movie theater. This movie theater, it's only plays 2 movies, and right now one of the movie theaters is being renovated, so there's only one working theater, so Scott Pilgrim is it. And it's the sort where you see the sign outside, you go through the double doors, and there's movie theater inside, there's a little popcorn stand, there's this old wart-faced woman scooping popcorn, and she's occasionally refreshing this popcorn, she'll grab a large soda and she kind of slurps loudly from this long twisty straw, whatever she's drinking. And there's nobody else inside the theater at the moment, just the 2 of you and this old lady behind the counter. How do you enter? What do you do here?
So we have to buy the tickets, right? You have to buy tickets to go to the movie, and then they rip them, right? And then they give them to you.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. That used to be a Suncoast Motion Picture Company, by the way, and that was the Walden Books, which was a lot of fun before they closed it. Sorry. So it's just 2 of us, right? Hey, can I get 2 for the Pilgrim? This Mr. Pilgrim,
Scott Pilgrim.
You hear that the slurping sound gets louder and increases. And she slowly puts her large soda down on the counter, and she kind of leans over and squints at you. You can see her nose is kind of crooked, maybe it's been broken before earlier in her life, and she makes this ugly sound in the back of her throat at you. Do you have identification?
ID?
Do you have an ID?
No, an ID. I got money, but it was PG-13 movie.
She 13, and she kind of looks down her nose.
I'll show her my school ID.
Okay. she does not believe you, and she looks at it, and she grabs her soda again, and she slurps through that twisty straw. She's staring at your school ID, and she slides it back to you. That'll be $10.
It's outrageous. I won't pay it. Here you go.
Would you like a soda? Popcorn?
Ooh.
Dippin' Dots?
What are Dippin' Dots?
It's ice cream.
She slurps again.
My dad was in on the early investor on the Dippin' Dots thing. It's a big deal. It's like little ice cream balls. make a lot of money in rural areas. Can I get 2 of the dots? Want a chocolate dots? What kind of dots do you want, Wren? You want the rainbow or the birthday cake?
I want the colorful ones. I think I would like those.
That's good. We'll take a chocolate and a rainbow with the dots and a large popcorn and an application, please. Job application. Just kidding. Just the popcorn. And the end. I was messing with you.
And she like wriggles her nose and makes that sound in the back of her throat again. Goes back to the popcorn. You can hear her like making sounds in the back of her throat as she's scooping your popcorn into a bag, as she's getting your Dippin' Dots, she's pouring your sodas, and she takes her time. That 15 minutes is ticking by to the start of the movie. Like, you got in here with plenty of time to get to this movie, but now it's like you've got like 2 minutes before the previews start, and she's still going about like her setup. Okay. And she finally brings the sodas and she sets it down and she says, "That'll be $22.50.
Oh my gosh, and worth every penny. Here you go. I slide $50 across the thing. You're like, all right, here we go. You're gonna hang on to it. And hey, listen, you should have been in Vegas. Okay, you and Wayne Newton missed the boat for the residency at the MGM Grand. All right. Good God. All right, here we go. I don't even know which way I'm going. Which way, ma'am? Which way is the Pilgrim? Is it this way? Is it in 2? Which way is 2?
It's in 1. And she like slurps again and she points towards because there's only two theaters and one of them shut down. So she points to door number 1. And she says, "Have fun, kids."
I wanna before we walk away, I wanna like, do you want to rip my ticket? Are you supposed to rip my ticket?
Roll me, Wren. Roll me a cool roll. It's a regular cool roll.
Okay. I got a 1.
Do you only have 1 dice in cool?
Yeah, I'm not very cool. Have you met Wren?
So here's the truth I'll introduce, is that she kind of looks at you, and for a moment her hardness like goes away and there's a little bit of like sympathy in her eyes, and she takes that ticket. She says, "This your first time seeing a movie?"
Yeah, I don't get off of the island much.
You're from Pretty Marsh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could see that on my school ID, right?
I did. And she slowly rips that ticket. She says, "Here you go, dear. You enjoy the movie, just." And she leans close. "Don't let him get fresh with you now. You hear?"
I don't. I think Wren would look at her like, I don't know what that means. That seems like an old lady thing, but thanks.
"There you go, dear. Enjoy the movie." And she hands you back the ripped ticket and grabs her soda and turns to like mean stare Merrill and slurps again from the soda.
Merrill makes eye contact with her as he gently slides his untorn ticket into his billfold and returns it to his back pocket, and picks up the popcorn and makes his way to Theater 1.
The two of you enter Theater 1 for the, let's call it 4:15 performance of Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It is an small movie theater. You've got your pick of the seats. Do you sit in the front? Do you sit in the back?
We sit in the back. Do you have a preference?
I've never been here.
All right, let me show you the right one though. I'll show you are we the only people in here?
You're the only people.
We would be. Scott Pilgrim's domestic take was nothing to get excited about. All right, so no offense, it's a great movie, but let's be honest. All right, so sorry if Edgar Wright's watching. We love you and enjoy the film. We sit in the middle seats. You got the front 3 and then you got 2 more, and then the middle of that one or the one behind it. That's the sweet spot in an empty movie theater. You have all to yourself. So I lead Wren over here. I'm like, this is the right one. We're not too close, we're not too far. The speakers are there. The speakers are there. We got maximum impact for the cinematic experience.
Wow. Thank you.
You're goddamn right. Wow. This is not buttered popcorn right here. I'll hold on to that during that show. If you could hold that for just a second. I'm sitting on my billfold here. Hang on a second. Let's move this over. I'll be here for 3 hours watching pilgrims move back and forth. I might as well not sit on my wallet. Okay, here, I'll take that back. This is good. Okay. All right, I'm good. I'm set. Here we go. Let's watch 20 minutes of commercials. Here we go. Bring it on. They're going to sell you shit before this thing starts. And then they're going to show you movies that haven't come out yet. And then we're going to watch the movie. It's going to take like half an hour. But it's fun. It's part of the fun.
I've seen DVDs, Merrill. They do that too, right?
Do they? We have a laser disc. We had a laser disc thing. My dad was psycho about these goddamn laser discs. Almost 300 laser discs.
As this conversation is going on, you have like cartoon figures dancing around on screen trying to sell you Coca-Cola. And then, that's right, the movie starts with the trailers, which do take almost half an hour. But as the lights are coming down on the two of you inside the movie, I want to go and check out what Jacob and Staley are up to in the mall, and then we'll return to the island with our other friends. So Jacob and Staley, you're at the mall. You can go wherever you want. Where do you go?
So, I mean, what do you want to do? I figure we could get something to eat. Like we could go to a place that serves food and eat it.
Food court is cool. If you want to grab some food, that's fine. I actually, let's grab food, because I had a weird dream last night, and I kind of want to talk to you about it, if that's cool.
Yeah, sure. Where do you want to eat?
Mall Chinese. All time. Favorite. Mall Chinese.
Oh, okay.
And she starts just walking towards Mall Chinese. If there is a Chinese
Panda
place
Express
in this mall, yes, then that's what she
Panda
looks for
Express
instantly.
The food court, Jacob, just to kind of paint the picture for you as the two of you are kind of talking and going towards it, it's probably the busiest part of the mall. It's the part where there's a lot more teenagers hang out, and it seems like, it's kind of all segregated, like there are groups of girls sitting down talking to each other. There's a group of guys that look like maybe they're older teenagers, or maybe even in their young 20s. Just kind of standing around along one of the walls, and they're looking at different groups and pointing and cracking jokes to themselves. For a moment, as the two of you are talking, Jacob, a couple of those fellas look your way and just kind of give you an uptick with their chin.
I give them the customary uptick in response, fuck you. And we continue onwards. I want to say fuck you with my eyes, but hey with my head. Are there any actual restaurants here? Like a TGI's or anything like that, or is it not that kind of?
There at the Bangor Mall. Roll me a smart. So let's see if you can find something that's still open. Something a little nicer.
Okay, I won't burn for another just yet. So -1. That is 1-5, so a success.
So you get a truth. You can introduce a truth about the scene as you're looking for a place to eat.
There's the world's worst TGI Fridays. that he's never actually been to before. He knows it's here, but it's a little expensive for like a shoplifting, stealing off his friends, little shit like me. So like it's not somewhere I've ever gone to. But I kind of said to Staley, I was thinking like we could actually go and like like sit down and eat, and I hear they do like milkshakes and stuff.
Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah, I like milkshakes.
If you want, like, yeah, good, great.
Yeah. Cool. Let's do it.
And I will head on over, and like a 16-year-old trying to be like very grown up in his hoodie and his snapback, and just like, but like, you know, this is an adult date thing that we're doing. So like, yeah, he will go and see if they can get a table in like a booth so they can like talk privately and quietly about stuff, but also can have like fancy food.
The waitress there, who's really young, like maybe even a little younger than you, Jacob, just has that sort of attitude, like she cannot, you know, she cannot be asked to deal with you. Like you have to stand there, even though the tables are empty, to stand there probably for about 5 minutes before you're able to actually get sat down. But you are able to get to a booth. She does like just slap 2 menus down in front of you and just sort of says over her shoulder, she's walking away, "I'll be right back with waters."
I mean, help yourself to whatever.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Crazy. Okay, so this is gonna sound really weird.
Oh no,
but,
how will I process really weird?
Yeah, I guess that's a question that we really don't have to contemplate anymore. I don't know. But anyways, so did I leave the orphanage last night? That's a crazy question to start this off, but was I like gone?
I mean, like, I don't know, maybe. I don't like, you know, I don't watch you while you sleep.
No,
yeah.
Okay. No, I meant
Sorry.
more like, did you hear anybody leave last night?
No, I didn't hear anyone leave. I don't think. I mean, Don, help. Did I hear anyone leave? Also, please end this conversation. Did I hear anyone leave last night?
I think that's the moment where the server, she comes back and slaps down 2 waters in front of the 2 of you. And no, you didn't hear anyone leave last night. I
like in probably the douchiest way, like with the 2 fingers tell her like we're gonna order and like stay there, without realizing how rude he's being to a server. And
she just sort of like leans back on her hip and she grabs her pad and she's just like tapping it against her hand and staring at you, Jacob, since you used your fingers.
I've only ever been here once before, so I like milkshakes and like whatever's good. What do you want? We'll just
honestly, milkshake and French fries. I'm cool.
Can we get like milkshake and French fries and like cake and something, and like he'll order like 7 or 8 things off the menu for like just a whole load of like the worst food. Yeah, and then we'll nod to her and hopefully she'll go away now. And this is
And she writes it all down, and like every time she starts to fold up her pad, and then you name something else, and she gets it back out and writes something else down, and then
I didn't see the Oreo cheesecake. Sorry, no Oreo cheesecakes. Yeah.
She writes it down too, and she looks back at you and she says, "Do you want to start a tab?" Do you have a card?
No, I'm paying in cash. It's all good.
Mm-hmm. And she just slowly walks away.
Yeah, weird. But okay. So, weird question, time. Do you think we're like all still gonna be friends someday? Like, do you ever think about that?
Oh,
I mean, like us aside, like the friends, like Gigi.
oh, you don't mean us?
No, I mean like we're cool. We're totally cool.
Yeah.
But
sorry, I thought
like
yeah.
everyone else.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess, kind of. I mean, I don't really know anyone else, so I don't, like, I guess.
Would you do anything dumb if it came between saving our friends and saving, like, Pretty Marsh?
Saving Pre-Marsh?
Yeah, like I don't know. Would you do something crazy if you wanted to save the rest of us? Like, would you ever sacrifice yourself for anybody?
Is this like, are we, is this zombie survival plan? Is that what we're doing?
No, I just had a really weird dream. I think I've been having really weird dreams.
Right.
But last night, last night I was at the wax museum. In my dream, but when I woke up, one of the things from the wax museum was in my room, and I think I'm going crazy.
I mean, like, so I kind of. I don't know, like, maybe, kind of. I look, things have been kind of weird of late, and I don't know what is going on as such, and you know, fucking stuff is.
And she will like take her hands and place them on both of his hands,
He like
and like
clams
stare
up
at
a little
him and just say, "Could you just promise me that you won't do anything stupid now or ever if it comes between like us and everything else?" It sounds really crazy, and I know you can't promise forever, but like, can you just at least say something to make me stop being afraid of everything at the moment?
No. Shit. Look, I know that's not what you want to hear, but it's the truth. I can't promise you something that. And I mean that because I don't want to break promises to you.
Well, thank you. I don't want to like lose you or any of the rest of our friends, and
you're not gonna lose me. Where the hell are you gonna lose me? Our lives are on this. Well, not this island, because we're actually off the island for once. And honestly, shit, half the time when I do make it to the mainland, I don't think about going back.
But neither do I. But
you're kind of the reason I do go back. So I know it sounds super lame.
No,
I
it's
just
not lame. It's sweet. I mean, same here, but I don't know. I'm sorry. Things have been weird lately.
things have been
yeah.
weird.
Hey, can I also suggest one more thing? I know Jay is like kind of an asshole, but let's not try and start issues with Jay. Could we all just like try and be better to one another? I know that sounds weird, and all pettiness aside, I'm still mad at Merrill, and I don't really know
I
how
don't
I'm just
know if it's I don't know if it's Merrill we are supposed to be mad at. Shit.
What? We've had this vendetta against Merrill for so long, I don't even think I remember what it was about besides shooting Jay. But
I like immediately look around to make sure no one's like listening in.
oh no,
and,
like yeah, she's saying this like super close.
We're like
she's
stage
trying to-
whispering. Like this is
Are you saying somebody else did it?
I don't know.
What do you know?
I can't. And he's like, how do I tell you this without telling you that I couldn't afford to take you out for dinner, so I stole off Gigi. I found a gun. How do I bring that up? And he doesn't want to lie, so look, we don't know it was him, and you know, there are more guns on the fucking island than I think we realize. Which, shit, reminds me, I need to get that back and hide it before my dad finds out.
Okay, so... And she, like, slaps her hands on the table in a lighter fashion. Let's restart. Date.
Yeah, right.
Food.
Date.
Milkshakes.
Yeah. Milkshakes.
Let's talk about this maybe later with everybody else. I don't want to just forget about it, but I mean, we're here off the mainland, or on the mainland. Let's leave Pretty Marsh right now.
Would you
best we
leave
can.
Pretty Marsh?
If you wanted to, yeah. I mean, I hope to one day. But if you left, it'd make it easier.
I don't want to go back, to be honest.
Are you saying right now, you just like run away?
Might have to skip out on the tab. But I mean, I don't know what we do. I'm worried about going back there, and you're talking about, you know, stuff in the future and stuff, and saying that you're worried about losing me. Shit, I'm worried about losing you tomorrow.
Well, then let's just focus on today and then focus on tomorrow when it's tomorrow. I feel like that's kind of what we have to. It's kind of don't have much of a choice.
We might have.
What do you mean?
Do you trust me? Look, there are some things that I can't tell you, and can you just trust me that I'm...
Yeah.
If I could get us some money, and I'm not talking a little money, would you leave? I mean, think about the last couple of days. Like, think about the shit that we've been through, and I'm just like...
I mean, yeah. But I mean, it would be a miracle. It would have to be a miracle.
Might be less of like the miracle and more like a me causing a little bit of trouble on my way out, but I'd do it if you come with me. But shit, I didn't plan on having this conversation. I really didn't. And then, you know,
I mean, I would, yeah. There's nothing in Pretty Marsh anyways. Music sucks. People suck.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. You know, I used to keep stuff in the lighthouse.
Well, yeah, used to.
Well, I have another stash of stuff, and I reach into my pocket and I pull out the $100 bill and sort of like shield it from sight and just like crumple it up in my palm.
Where did you get this? Do you have
Trust
like
me,
a job or something that we don't know about?
If I had a job, everyone would know, because we live on a shitty little island where there's 80 fucking people to talk to. So look, would you do it? Like, seriously?
Yeah. I've been on this island as long as I could remember, or that island. I don't have parents that I know of. I don't have siblings that I know of besides the family that I've created with all of you. I have no reason to stay in Pretty Marsh and wanted to leave as soon as possible and figured I would just after school. Fuck it.
You can see through the window of the TGI Fridays that off to the east, there's storm clouds starting to roll. It's not sunny anymore outside. And the longer this conversation's been going on, the sort of darker it's been getting. And now you can see that far to the east, off the coast of Bangor, over the water, the clouds are very dark. And I think for a moment, that crash of thunder catches your attention. You can see like the flash of lightning, heat lightning in the distance, and then 2 milkshakes are slammed down right in front of you by the waitress. She says, "Fries are going to be a few more minutes." She looks at Jacob. Is the $100 bill visible?
No, it's in my hand, like crumpled up, but
Okay.
But I kind of like look to her and how much? Because I don't like when do you pay for a meal in a restaurant? I don't fucking know. So like, do I pay now?
That's like offering, and she gives you like a small smile as she sort of realizes that you don't know what's going on, and she finishes writing up the tab and she sets it down in front of you, and it comes out to be like $72.58, and she just sort of turns her palm over and smiles at you.
I slap a $100 bill in her palm and play it off as the coolest fucking thing ever. Just like, that's enough, right? And like, don't even make eye contact with her and just look back at Staley.
She says, "It's very nice of you. Thank you for the tip." And she folds it into her apron and turns and starts to walk off.
Jacob doesn't even like acknowledge that. He's just looking at Staley.
Is there anything else you say immediately?
I think she just looks back at him and just like grabs the milkshake and starts sipping it, like smiling at him.
He holds it up like it's a fine Chianti and will
toaster, and they drink to running away as teens. It's going to be great.
Great.
Let's go back to the island and to Gigi. Gigi, you're heading towards the library, right?
Yep, sure am.
This here. So,
map. Hold on.
Yeah, let's look at the map. We haven't been to the library before in this game. Here's some things to know about the Flag Public Library. It's run by Phyllis Conkley. She's been running the library, the public library, for the past 56 years. It's owned by a recluse from a nearby island, Mount Desert Island, and Phyllis herself is a tiny old woman. She has a reputation for being pretty nosy about other people's business, particularly their romantic interests. And a lot of the teenagers, or maybe preteens, make fun of her. They call her a witch because she sort of looks like one. The library itself is well kept, small, but has a surprisingly very variety of curated books on a lot of different subjects, many of which are from the town founders' private collections they brought here. And so there are a lot of old books in the back section of the library as well. There's also a tower out back that attaches to the library, and teenagers have been known to sneak into the tower and climb up to the top where there's this little lookout. They'll go up there and smoke. You can rent the library's only computer, but it only has access to dial-up, so its internet's very slow. They also rent typewriters. So I imagine that as Gigi is getting closer to town, you're moving through Main Street towards the Flag Public Library, you would see those storm clouds off in the distance rumble, the heat lightning approaching. And let's start this scene this way as you enter the library. Pretty Marsh Harbor has many secrets, Gigi. Some of them big, some of them small, a few of them terrifying. So what is one thing that is true about this scene?
As Gigi steps into the library, it has one of those stone-tiled floors, and there's already a large puddle of water across this floor, which makes it slippery.
You sort of hydroplane for just a second, and you almost bump into Phyllis, who's just inside the door, and she holds the door open for you, and she pulls back, and then she smiles at you and leans over, and she waves her hand. She says, come on in, dear. It's quiet in here today, but I'm still open.
Looks like you got some water in your... Never mind. Do you have anything about the lighthouse? Like books or newspapers?
The old Toothaker lighthouse?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, there's microfish in the back if you're looking for old articles from the nearby newspapers. Microfish, old newspaper articles saved. You can look at them and read through them.
Oh, you mean like the little slideshow thing like they do on TV sometimes?
Yeah. Would you like to see?
Cool. Yes. And do you know about, wasn't there like a shipwreck or something that happened out there? Right? The founding families came in the ships and one of them didn't make it.
Oh, well, yes, of course. There were two ships that came to the island, and one of them crashed. They took the timber from that ship, and, well, the ship down at the docks now, the SS Newfoundland, it's sort of a combination. It uses the wood of both of those old ships as part of its recreation.
Because they don't know why it crashed, right? Why it wrecked. They couldn't figure it out, right?
Well, it's hard to say it was so long ago, but it could have been a nor'easter.
Cause you know, when we were in kindergarten, we would always say it was the crab. It came out of the water and it grabbed the ship. But that's stupid because, you know, there's no crab. Right?
You're Gigi, aren't you? No, you're from the orphanage, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, the foster home.
I came in here to make the flyers about the recycling program that we tried to set up. You know, when the grab and go started using the plastic cups instead of the cardboard ones.
Dreadful, dreadful. I hate that grab and go. Come on in, dear. I'll help you find whatever you need. Just let me unlock the back room so you can take your time and look around. She kind of moves slowly. She shuts the door behind you. And as she moves to the back and pulls out a key from her little key ring, she unlocks the back area where they keep like all the old things that there's only one copy of, the old articles, some of the founding family's books, and she gets it unlocked and she props open the door for you, and you can hear the storm starting to get a little bit closer. You can hear the patter now of rain against the roof of the building. It's starting to come down. She sort of looks up at the roof and then takes a breath, and she slowly goes back behind her desk and takes a seat, and she says, I'll be right here if you need me, but feel free to take your time and look around.
If you need someone to look at the roof, you should talk to Mr. Toothaker. He had a pet shop ours last winter.
Well, Mr. Toothaker, we don't get along, dear. Not too well. But thank you.
Yeah, I didn't see you at the funeral. Thanks for the help.
You're welcome, Gigi.
And she's there trying to work the microfiche, and it's like going too quickly, and then it's going in the wrong direction, and she's getting frustrated, and then she realizes there's like a laminated printout of the instructions, like step by step, and she's having to like do it step by step to get this thing working. How does anyone... One day we will get Google. Please grab that. One day we will get Google.
This poor island. Go ahead and roll me, let me know what you're looking for. Roll me smarts.
Okay. She is specifically looking for strange events around the lighthouse. She doesn't know what happened to Jay at the top of the tower, but she knows it was weird. So she's looking for just like, I don't know, like suicides that maybe happened, any other wrecks around there. 'Cause she knows she saw like something that looked like a crab in the water. She's just looking for any like weird things about the lighthouse, very specifically.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and roll me smarts. And we're minus 2 dice from the dice pool right now.
We sure are. I am on 1 dice, but I'm going to use 1 from my screen, so I'm on 2 dice.
Okay.
I got a 4, so it's not desperate, right?
No, this is a regular roll. You just need a 4.
I got a 4 and a 2.
So you get to name one truth about something you find.
I think she finds an article about her dad. And it's something from when he just graduated and he was first on the fishing boats. He was involved in something that happened not far from the lighthouse. And it's a story that she's never known about. And there's like some strange quote or something with it that prompts a thought for her.
The truth that I'll add to this is that it talks about, it's a weird event with your dad having taken a corporate position with Gross Groceries Corporate. You'd taken some sort of administrative position, and it's a weird thing because that doesn't seem like your dad. It doesn't seem like something he'd have done, or maybe you didn't even know that he had any relationship with the Grosses at all. But it was a big deal at the time for the newspaper. But the newspaper also has, like duck sightings and name things that like aren't really news because this is a small town and literally they have to make up reasons to newspapers here. So this was big news.
I think seeing the gross thing, I think that then sparked her to start researching the founding families because it's the Toothaker lighthouse. So when did the Toothakers lose their fortune? I imagine everyone pretty much kind of gets the tourist bottled down history, but because they're kids, they only pay attention to the bits they need to pass, like pop quizzes and stuff. So she's doing like a deep dive now of like Toothakers, grocers, how are they related?
Yeah, and one of the things that you can find very clearly is that there are all kinds of weird rumors about the Grosses, about the Duprees, and about the Toothakers throughout time, as long as you can find information. Most of it's unsubstantiated claims. There's claims of like witchcraft, incest, just like any kind of craziness that you can imagine. One of these families has had crazy claims leveraged against them. Which family are you looking into in particular? And are you looking like into the long-term past or more recent past?
I think she starts looking at the founding history with the Toothakers, which is very closely related to the Grosses, as I know in Mesa. Because she's very interested in Mr. Toothaker in a way, and how he's come to be where he is, and then how that ties into the lighthouse. She doesn't like, she can't figure out why the Toothakers had the lighthouse, what the deal with that was, and why they don't have it anymore, kind of thing.
One of the things you're able to find for certainty is that the three Roberts are the founding fathers of the island. You have Robert Toothaker, Robert Gross, and Robert Dupree. And their names pop up a lot in the beginning when you talk about the history of the island. These families were very prominent, and the Toothakers were not really any less prominent than the Grosses or the Duprees. But over time, the Toothakers seem to have mysterious accidents. You can find many articles that talk about people dying of accidents. Their family got smaller and smaller and smaller. They sold some of their property off island on mainland, off on the main coast. But throughout time, they were the caretakers of the lighthouse until the lighthouse was decommissioned. That was always a Toothaker job. And the taking over of the foster family, the orphanage, was what Mr. and Miss Toothaker did, your caretakers, after they left the lighthouse because it came in disrepair, and they, instead of paying for it to be repaired, they had it decommissioned. And then they moved into Seawall Orphanage.
I think as she makes notes on those things, she decides to kind of go hunting for McGinty. She wants to figure out when he came to the island, because he was the creepy guy at the hospital who maybe wasn't at the hospital, and Jacob said he'd done something. And she's like, all right, how does McGinty fit into this? I don't remember him from school lessons. I remember him from when we, knocked the ball over the fence, but not from school lessons.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to find anything interesting or recorded about McGinty. You can roll me a smarts roll again.
Yeah. I imagine she gets kind of frustrated with the microfiche, because looking for a name when you have no idea what date to even look for on a microfiche is stupid. So I imagine she's got the computer and it's like booting up in the background, and you can hear the sound of that dial-up crunch and crack as she's waiting for it to engage. So she could just Google the name or, Yahoo search, because that's the kind of island we live on. Smarts. 1 day. I need to update my overlay as well. I'm going to use my second smarts. I want clues. Give me clues. Oh, that's cocked. 1 and a 3.
You can't find anything written about McGinty. No history on the island as far as like he's never made the news. You only know what you know about him, which is that he lives behind the school. He's all about local sports, especially like the high school team. He's a big fan of the high school team. But the truth that I'll introduce here is that although you don't find anything about McGinty, you find a few old articles that describe something similar, where somebody got sick in Pretty Marsh, maybe sometimes even died, and then they'd be seen again, or they would be in two places at once. And there's several murders that happened where an individual had been claimed to have been in the hospital or had died of illness, and then somehow somebody else would say that they murdered or attacked them. And so this is something that's popped up several times in the history of the town, these unsolved crimes where somebody was seemingly in two places at one time. And though you don't find any information about McGinty, that strikes a chord with you as being familiar.
So I think she wandered out
sort of what happened
to the foyer by Miss Phyllis's desk. It was Phyllis, right? I'm not just making that up.
Yeah, her name is Phyllis.
Miss Phyllis, why would they keep murder records on the island? And she's like looking at her notes, and she's got a printout, and it's one of those doc matrix sheets that just went on for years, because that's the kind of printer we have on this island. And she's got like that in one hand, pencil behind the ear, and she's just casually asking, why do we keep the murder records on the island?
Why? Why do we? Or where do we?
Where? You know how we always have, all those crazy rumors, like the crab thing, and
I think she pushes her glasses up the bridge of her nose and leans over her desk at you and says, "Oh, why are you asking, Gigi?"
I have a school project due in a few weeks, and I haven't done it yet. She lies really badly as she realizes she's being scrutinized by an adult.
School doesn't start until the end of summer.
It's nearly the end of summer, and I had summer school. I nearly failed math as well, which is true.
Well, if you want something in more detail, you'd probably, I imagine, have to go to town hall, Gigi, but my dear, maybe you shouldn't be looking into such dark subjects.
Well, last time Merrill came back from the mainland, she begins to lie, he brought a ton of these like true crime novels, and I was thinking maybe I could write one of those about the island, and maybe this essay could be like the start, because there's all kinds of crazy murders going on. She lays out her research. She's actually really proud because she found something, kind of distracted and not thinking about the fact it was one of her caretakers that was murdered most recently, trying not to very hard. And she's like, look, it's like a pattern. People die and then they appear and no one knows what happened to them. Right?
She's sort of looking over the information you've presented on her desk very slowly. And she's bobbing her head a little bit, and she puts it back down. What's this have to do with a lighthouse?
I don't know. I was just looking at old things, and the Toothakers used to own it, sort of, while they looked after it. And then it was decommissioned, and then they ended up in charge of the orphanage. The Toothakers were one of the founding families. I mean, you know that, but I don't know. I was just getting into, like, the whole history of the island. There's just so much stuff that happens here, and no one seems to be paying attention,
What is it you think we should be paying attention to, Gigi?
People dying would be a good start. Seems kind of like a thing a town would pay attention to. Don't you think?
People are always dying on this island. long as I
Yes,
can remember.
seriously, look. Don't you think that's strange? Don't you think that someone should be looking at our pipes or something? Or trying to figure out who's killing all these people?
I think young girls should keep their noses clean.
I think people
Let
shouldn't
people-
break into our house and attack Jay, and I think that when women leave their houses in the rain and the storm, they shouldn't come back dead, and that my brothers shouldn't tell me about horrible things in the church, and that the lighthouse shouldn't just... Nothing about the lighthouse. Forget it.
And she reaches out, and you can feel like her wrinkly hand on the top of your hand. As she kind of just puts her palm on the top of your hand. She gives you a little squeeze. And she says, "What about the lighthouse, Gigi?"
Well, it's just always lighting up and shining in our rooms, and then there's a siren that just goes off, and it's not good. Why does it do that? There's no one there. It hasn't got any power.
Just a old malfunctioning lighthouse, that's all. Nothing
Why
to
is no one
worry
so
about
just
there.
turn it off? Isn't that what you do when you decommission a thing? You turn it off.
You know that the lighthouse was... Well, it collapsed yesterday.
What?
You wouldn't know
It-
anything about that, would you, Gigi?
There was that storm last night. It was raining real hard.
You can feel her old wrinkly hand on top of yours tightening slowly.
Maybe
The
I
rain's coming down harder against the roof.
I heard something, because the orphanage real close to the beach on that side. So close that the light shines in our house.
I can't imagine, dear. I feel like that might be enough to drive me mad, being woken up in the middle of the night by the light from the lighthouse.
I'm not mad, and she snatches up her research and looks like deeply hurt and offended. What? I'm not mad. And heads towards that foyer, and I imagine she's already forgotten the puddles there and aquaplanes towards the front door.
Roll me, Gigi. Roll me let's call it a desperate quickness. Not
Okay.
grit.
Ooh, I got loads of dice in this. We're down 2 dice, right?
Yes, we are.
Alright, I get to roll 3. This is my best stat in 2010. Ooh, a 6 and a 5 and a 1. 2 successes for me.
All right.
I need 1, but...
You start to hydroplane again. You get to name a truth here as Gigi sort of catches her balance. At the end of this scene.
I think as she hydroplanes, the thunder rings out as the storm is getting even closer now. And the lightning flashes around the place. And as she kind of hydroplanes, she turns and looks back. I think something about Gigi's expression reminds Phyllis or scares Phyllis. Whether it's something she remembers about something to do with Gigi or something like that. And it's like this intimidating scowl. As just under her breath, she repeats, "She's not mad. Why don't adults believe anything? I'm gonna find answers even if you won't." And she storms out into the rain.
You can hear her shaky voice calling out behind you as you storm out into the rain. "What did you do, Gigi? What did you do?" And then the door slams shut, and the rain is pouring down. I mean, it is coming down heavier than you can remember it at all this year. This is the biggest storm of the year, and it's just rolled in. I mean, the sky, even though it's in the afternoon, the sky is black. It does not look like daytime at all. And there are cracks of lightning forking across the sky. You have to actually, like, it's hard. Everything that you have in your possession that you've taken from the library, it's in danger of getting soaked. And I don't think, you didn't describe, but Gigi's not really dressed for the rain, is she?
No, she's got her high school hoodie on, so that's going to get drenched really quickly. But I imagine she does the hamster pouch, just shoving everything down the top and hugging it to herself, and then just hunching over it. But she won't have long until she's soaked through. I think the rest of her outfit's like jeans and sneakers.
The streets are clear. People have gotten off the street as the storm's gotten bad. You do see like a car speed down and it hits a puddle and sprays it into your face, like getting you even more soaked. But other than that, it's clear outside. Where are you heading?
I think she is going to go just across the street to the museum, because they keep like random artifacts from the founding families in there and stuff like that. And it's like a close place where she can go and hunt for more information, because she doesn't know where else to go.
You move across the street towards the museum. You can see like the neon lights that are on the outside of the museum are kind of flickering, and like the first U of museums out entirely, and the rest of them are kind of flickering a little bit. You can see the neon reflecting off of the puddles in the street as you're approaching. But as you enter the museum, I want to cut across to Jae, also on the island, and find out what Jae is getting up to today. You were dropped off a little earlier in the day, Jae, and maybe like the rain has just started to come down a little bit, but they dropped you off at the lumber mill, right? That's where you wanted to go?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Before we jump into the scene, let's talk about the lumber mill briefly here, because this is also a location we haven't been to before. So the Dupree lumber mill, which is no longer owned by the Dupree family, it's owned by the Gross family, actually. It's an old lumber mill. It's been a staple of the island's economy since shortly after its founding. It's gone through a lot of renovations. It's also been the site of a number of accidents and unfortunate incidents over the years, the most recent of which was just like a year ago now, a pretty gruesome accident. There's also the shed out behind, the large storage shed of the lumber mill is the unofficial bar of the town. The town doesn't have like a dedicated bar with a liquor license. It just has a single restaurant. So people get together behind the lumber mill and illegally drink, and the fire department kind of lets it happen. They even support it. You can go there and buy drinks, buy beer. And because of that, around the storage shed is just a mess of empty bottles, broken old cans, crumpled up. That's sort of the scene that you're looking at the edge of the forest, this clearing as you arrive, and the rain is just starting to come down a little bit, Jay. And I would like to do as we always do. Pretty Marsh Harbor has many secrets, some of them big, some of them small, a few of them terrifying. What is one thing that is true about this scene?
One thing that is true about this scene is that Jacob's father is here today. I think he was working. Or he's getting ready to work, but he went in for a morning drink, right? Does your father drink at the shed? Yeah. And he's just sort of leaving the shed as Jay sort of hobbles over.
Yeah, so Jacob, why don't you tell us what your father looks like in general? Like what's his physical appearance?
The
best way to describe him, he is about 250 pounds, about 6'6" He is incredibly overweight and very hairy everywhere except on his head. He looks kind of he has a very unwelcoming, unfriendly kind of appearance, and is almost always in cargo shorts, combat boots, or like work boots, and usually has like whatever he's wearing has like paint flecks on it. He does repairs around the town. He's a handyman. He's a carpenter, so he does all these things. So most of his clothing is kind of like the local Maine football team. He wears like their kind of like sports tops. And yeah, he's usually just he's a very direct kind of individual, so he's not the most approachable of people, but he probably would have helped most people in town with like fixing like a sink or something like that. So I feel like a lot of people would know him.
Muted, done.
Truth that I'll add here for you, Jay, is you're stepping into the scene. You see Jacob's father, Carl, step out of the shed as he locks it behind him. He's got a brown bag of saying he's taking a swig from, and he's taking these long steps. You can see he's got maybe on underneath like his open flannel or something. His jacket is like an old, oversized Ramones t-shirt that looks like it's dirty and muddy. And he's just doesn't notice you at first. He's just moving back towards the actual lumber mill. There's nobody else that you see at the moment, but the rain's starting to come down a little bit more heavily.
Mr. Prince, can I have a moment of your time? It's I'm from the foster home.
He sort of squints through the rain at you and takes a drink from his bottle and says, "Come on in out of the rain and talk inside."
Right. Jay, is he pointing back towards the shed or toward like one of those like lumber sheds things?
It's pointing towards the actual mill, yeah, one of the actual lumber sheds. There's like a pile of like tree-sized logs on the outside that are tied up tight into a triangular shape. And then on the inside, you can see some machinery and whatnot.
Jay will follow him over to the mill and step in out of the rain. Thank you. I know you're probably getting ready for work, but I was wondering if you had any just, spare, like, sort of, and he sort of makes a motion with his hands, about this long pieces of wood, not too, something that the lumber mill might not be using.
He's a little bit further into the room, and it's dark. There's no lights on, so it's just a little bit of light from outside. It's starting to get darker as the clouds get heavier. You can see him take another drink from that bottle, and he sets it down, and he says, "You friends with my son?"
We are, I would say we're friends, yes.
You can see him just slowly turn around, kind of look over his shoulder at you, and he says, "You rob me, break into my home, steal what's mine."
I'm sorry, Mr. Prince. I
Don't fucking play stupid with me, kid. I know that Jacob's been in my place, stealing my things. My gun's missing. You help him with that?
No, absolutely not. We're friends, but I wouldn't say we're that close. We actually fight more often than we get along. No, I'm actually, I'm in need of just a piece of wood because I seem to have lost my crutches because I got shot last week.
He's slowly stepping towards you. He's a large guy in every way possible. He's a large guy. And his breath is a little labored, probably because he's been drinking. So you can see like his chest and his belly rising and falling with each step and each breath. And just about a foot away from you, he says, "There's lots of wood in the forest, kid. You think you could just sneak in here on a Sunday? Nobody would be here. You'd take what doesn't belong to you."
I have money. If I have a few dollars, I could leave for just a random piece of wood. I needed something a little bit more sturdy, and I need a crutch because of my leg.
He wipes his face, looks at you and looks down at your leg. "How much money you got?"
She's got like $20 on him. like he didn't expect it was gonna be this difficult. I've got like $20.
He holds out his hand, palm up.
Jay will pull out $20 and hand it to him. But, well, not quite hand it to him first. He'll hold it out. Says, I just want to make sure that we have a suitable piece of wood here. I think, look, I just need a crutch long enough until I can either find my other ones. I think one of the other kids is hiding it from me, or, until I can get a new set. So I just want to make sure that we have a proper piece, and then I will give you $20 for it.
And he takes another step towards you, his hand's still out, and he says, "Fork it up. You're welcome to look around, kid. A lot of good it's gonna do you."
Jay will sigh and pass him the $20. And,
He pockets it.
oh boy, okay, I need is he just gonna let Jay sort of walk around now at this point?
Yeah, he goes back to his bottle after pocketing the 20 and takes another drink, and he turns to look at you.
As Jay sort of is gonna look around, he's just sort of gonna mutter under his breath loud enough that he can probably hear, but like soft enough that Jay, like, it could be conceivably someone would think that Jay is just talking to himself, and he's just say, "I just feel like I'm being robbed, both of them. First my crutches, now my money."
"Hey, kid, you want a little bit of advice? Some honest advice."
Of course, Mr. Prince.
Get off this island. Don't look back. Don't wait. Just get out of here.
Duly noted, Mr. Prince. I will That is the plan.
Slams his bottle down on the wooden desk, like it's like a saw. There's like a saw horse there, and slams his bottle down. He says, "I don't think you understand what I'm telling you, kid. Get off this island. You ain't got time. None of you do. None of you."
Jay is just going to find the nearest piece of wood that might work as a temporary crutch, and he's going to get out of there.
Roll me smarts, Jay.
Okay. It is, I believe we're on the final lights, right? So that's -3.
No, it's -2. We haven't clicked over
-2.
yet.
Okay, we haven't clicked over yet. All right. -2. I'm going to use one of my extra dice, though. Bring it back up to a 4.
Okay.
5.
That's a good idea.
Yep. That's 2 5s.
2 5s. So as you're searching around in the lumber mill, you can hear sort of his heavy breathing, and a couple more times he takes a big drink as he's watching you. What's one truth?
What's one truth? What is one truth? One second, just want to look at what we wrote about the lumber mill real quick. I think the old foreman shows up at this point to sort of perhaps distract Mr. Prince so that Jay can grab this piece and get out without any weirdness. But the old foreman shows up at this point.
Here's how I'll add the truth. Here's how I'll say it works. You can feel his eyes on the back of your head as you're searching through wood. It's hard to find something that's the right size, something you can actually use. And you can hear him start to laugh. Not Prince, Carl Peters begin to laugh, just kind of to himself, and it's this sort of sound that just is lost, just broken. And he comes around the corner to you as you're searching for wood. You can see him at the other end of like this little aisle there, and he just sort of looks at you, wipes his lips again. I think he'll let me go if I finish it. I think he might let me go, Tak, if I'm the one to finish it. You understand, don't you, kid? We're all just doing our best here. Steps closer to you, and a little bit closer to you. We're all just doing our best, kid.
Jay's just gonna grab whatever piece of wood's nearest to him. He's just gonna start, just using it as a walking stick, and just gonna start backing out if he can.
And he's faster, a little bit faster than you probably, even though he's drunk, even though he bumps into things as he's coming along. He calls out, "You don't get it. You're like veal, kid. You got a short lifespan. You always were gonna have a short lifespan. Trying to go against that, you're damning everybody. Everybody. But I can fix it. I can make it like it was supposed to be. And you can hear him, he crashes into something else. What's Jay doing?
Jay is just backing out, trying to find his way to like an exit.
Roll
like,
me. Oh yeah, what's he say?
I mean, he's just like, I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about, but I'm sure you can fix whatever it is that you need to fix. I need to get back. The storm is coming, and I need to get back to the foster home, and he's just trying to back away and find the exit.
You can see now that it's black outside and the rain is coming down. As you look out through the door, you can see the water is beginning to flood into the lumber mill itself. And as you're getting close, there's two sounds that tear your attention. One, the sound of the roof above this building starting to shake. And you can hear pieces of wood, planks of wood being torn off of the roof, and water is starting to come down through the roof up above. And then a second later, just when you think you've reached the door and maybe he's not following you anymore, you hear him say again, just like veal, soft, meant to be eaten. And then you hear the rip and roaring of a motor. You're at the door now. You can keep running out into the woods. You can do something else.
Jay is just gonna try to run, I think. Jay's gonna open the door and just get out as fast as he can.
All right. That's our final lights down for the session. Jay, I need you to roll me a desperate quickness roll. And you see two things as you step outside and almost slip in the water. The ground is flooding in the forest. It's raining so fast, so hard, it's hard to see. And as you kind of slip and gather yourself and look back over your shoulder, you can see Jacob's father stomping drunkenly towards you. He's got a chainsaw revved up and running in his hand. What was your result there?
Okay, so I haven't rolled yet. So it is... Okay. So the final hour, -3. Desperate. My quickness is 3, so that's 1 die. So I'm going to use... You know, I'd love to have a session that doesn't end on Jay rolling terribly, so I'm going to use 2 dice here to try.
So you have 3 dice, and you just need a 5 or a 6 on one of these rolls.
That's a 5.
You get to introduce one truth here, and if you want to use the truth that you'd introduced before that we haven't brought into the scene yet, you can describe exactly what it means too, if you want.
I think the old foreman shows up, and he's not certifiably crazy like everyone else here. He's crazy to everyone else, but he's the only one who's realizing that, I think that he probably realized that there's some messed up shit going on here, and he's seen some messed up shit, and he's I think he shows up and he's not down with the child killing at this point. Maybe he witnessed it a while back, and he's not, that's why he's crazy and out in the forest now, but I don't think he's down with the child killing anymore. So he's gonna help me somehow. I'm not sure how, but he's gonna help me out here. I don't know if he has a car or.
So they call him Looney Lyle, and he's the old foreman. He's also the person who had an accident here last year. He lost his hand, and people said he went crazy after that. He lost his hand on a saw, and he replaced his arm with a wooden appendage that looks like a crab claw. It's made from the same wood that was involved in his accident. and he kind of hangs around. Sometimes he drinks out behind late at night. But he's become a recluse in the past year. He was really well liked before that, but now everyone's super creeped out by Lyle, Looney Lyle. And I want to say that you're running out into the forest and like struggling against the waters. The water level's starting to rise. It's like already to your shins. And you're already hobbled, and you can hear that revving motor behind you. And then as you look back over your shoulder, you see Jacob's father's face just twisted with some sort of madness. He raises the motor up, he raises the chainsaw up, and you see from behind him Lyle kind of step out from the doorway of the lumber mill, and he strikes him in the back of the head with his crab claw appendage, and it shatters. Like he actually breaks his wooden arm, his wooden crab claw on the back of Jacob's dad's head, and Jacob's dad goes straight down into the water with a splash. And Lyle looks down to his arm and back up to you. He's an older fella. He's probably should have retired anyways before the accident. And he says, "Kid, you need a ride?"
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes, please. Anywhere.
All right.
Well, anywhere but here.
Follow me. I got you. And he goes off around the back corner, and you can see like there's a pickup truck that's parked back there, and he hops in, gets it started up, and drives up and opens the side door, and he says, "Come on in. I think it's time we find you a family."
I think so too. Jay will get in.
Shuts the door, and he speeds off down the old road that takes you looping back towards town. And go back now to Gigi. You're out of the street, and you go into the museum. And when you open up the museum doors, you don't see anybody on the inside. The lights are on, and you can see that maybe it looks like some lights are going out through the back door to the back room of the wax museum as well. But you don't see any attendants or anybody here. You have like your soaking paperwork, your clothes are wet.
I think she kind of hurries through the museum before any caretaker or any adult can appear. And she pushes past the wall of like fish sculptures, past the mini aquarium, towards where the founding family history portion is. And I think she'll be drawn to the light of that back room. I think as her curiosity pushes her, because she's seen these exhibits loads of times, she's like, that's where they're going to keep anything that's important, anything that's got anything that's real, that's where it's going to be, in that back room. And the light's there, and the door's open, and she just kind of drifts towards it, ears like going like dishes, eyes are wide, and just, I'm not crazy, into the back room.
I think you're saying, I'm not crazy to yourself alone in the room, about 6 feet away from the door, and the door swings open. And Gigi, you hear now not just the rain and the heavy storm outside. In the distance, you hear the siren from the lighthouse that's no longer there, starting to sound. And all of the lights in the museum go from fluorescent to a dark red. Same color as those exit signs. Everything gets a lot darker.
The second she would become aware of a presence, if there is one, done, she'd grab the ballpoint pen that's in her hand and just try and stab whoever this is. Because she remembers the hospital with Mr. McGinty ripping out her hair. She remembers the beach with the fire axe man. And She is just convinced she's going to be attacked. She spooks the fuck out of herself. And this door's just open. If someone appears, she's just going to stab them with the ballpoint pen. Because she's scared and not really thinking. And she's not crazy.
Go ahead and roll me Desperate Grit. You do see shapes there outlined in terms of they look like humans.
How many dice do I have on my screen, Don? 1?
You have 1 bonus dice.
Alright, that means I get to roll 2 dice. 2 3s. That would be a fail, Don.
There's a shape behind you. You hear like a footstep behind you. And you spin around and drive the pen into the person's eye. You can feel the force. You can hear it pop, that sickening sound. And then you see behind that person, Jae. Jae, you watch Gigi spin around, having driven here to the museum, taken here by Lyle, following Gigi inside. And Lyle opens up his mouth and screams, begins to writhe, and then he drops to the ground. And the storm outside gets a little louder, and the siren continues to scream. But that's where we're going to end our story for tonight.
I would like to scream. I'm not going to, but I would like to. We're going to do a really quick wrap tonight because Travis needs to go running because he has an Aliens game nearly immediately after this one. So I'm going to drop on down to our beloved cast member, Travis. Trav, where can we find you on the internet, and what are you looking forward to about the finale?
Okay. Oh my god, it's almost over. My heart is breaking. I'm gonna take my headphones out because we're about to play Alien. It's true. Where can you find me on the internet? You can find me playing Alien on Lindy, twitch.tv/LaughLoveLindy in like 10-15 minutes, and it's gonna be bad the fuck ass. I'm not fucking around. If Disney gave me $300 million, this is what we'd be doing. I got maps. I'm actually prepared for this one. I'm very excited, as you can tell. We're about to get it on. This game was amazing. We got a huge info dump. What's up, Charlie? We don't even have time to talk about the producer Trav continuity that we're building across the years. We don't even have time to get into that. I love Staley and Jacob. He doesn't deserve her, and he knows it. And I love Josh's base contempt for the younger version of his character. It's hysterical and gives him a third dimension. And every guy I went to high school with wanted Staley for a girlfriend. And anybody who there was like one or two Staleys per high school, and they had the luckiest boyfriend in the world, and we all hated him. And then Jay and I need to have a confrontation in the finale. It's been cooking this entire time, and we're going to have to get it on. And I can't wait for Merrill to talk about Scott Pilgrim. I have to go. I have to play Aliens. I can't wait for next week. It's going to break my heart. But I also know that we've got some really cool stuff. This is a special group, and everybody says their game is badass. And most often they're right. This one is bad the fuck ass. This is some awesome shit. Thank you, Charlie and Don, for the opportunity. The funniest shit I've ever heard in my life is Don going, "And through the window of the TGI Fridays." And I just lost my fucking mind. So I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye,
Trav. I love all of you. How do I leave?
Hit the hang up button. So I want to say something else about people being bad the fuck ass, and that is the Chaos Chorus over in chat tonight. We had a ridiculous number of subs, loads of gift subs. We had one from Ray. We had like 5 from Hawkeye. FPS Monkey donated 10. We've had bit donations. Thank you all so much for those, and for the Banes from Hippie as well. We don't do shout outs during the show because, as you can tell, there's a lot that we're trying to cram in, but we really do appreciate that. And we appreciate you so much for hanging out with us on these Friday Fright Nights. So much so that I'm pretty sure we're going to bring Seawall back for a Seawall 2 at some point when we can make it work. Because we have like 4 events to cram in, and we have a finale next week. Let's drop on down and go and speak to the wonderful Wren, a.k.a. Lydia, in the middle of the screen. So same questions. Where can we find you, and what are you looking forward to about the finale?
I'm not looking forward to anything about the finale because I never want this to end. I'm so bummed, but I'm so excited. I can't wait to find out how much Merrill loved Scott Pilgrim. I think it's probably going to be his favorite movie. I'm also just so excited to see how all of this is going to tie together because like there was so much like sneaky like background stuff going on and I loved it. This is so great. Also, I got goosebumps when you when you called Jay Veal. Like I got like sweaty goosebumps. Oh boy, this is great. Okay. I'm Lydia. You can find me on Twitter at Lydia Heals and all over the internet under that name. You find me here on Friday nights. Follow me on Twitter to find me other places and see pictures of my dog. Good night.
It is a very good doggo and a very good person. Speaking of very good people, Tommy, would you like to, before we hop into the original questions, would you like to tell people what we're doing after the finale here in the Friday night slot?
Well, I would love to. We are going to be doing a mini campaign of Urban Shadows, a Powered by the Apocalypse game about urban fantasy. And I will be the one running it. I am super excited. It is going to be great. It's going to be with all these lovely people here. And I am super looking forward to doing that. And to drop into the other questions, that plan backfired quite a bit. Backfired a lot. Just a little bit. Just backfired so much. Just absolutely just backfired so hard. And Jay's not used to that. Things usually work out pretty well when Jay is trying to, get someone else in trouble. Things usually go pretty well. But that was great. I loved mainland team today. Just that feeling of being a teen and going to the mall or the theaters. It felt so real. Meanwhile, island team is absolutely fucked. Gigi, we're stealing his car and we're getting the fuck out of here. We're stealing the car, we're going to the mainland, we're picking everyone up and we're just going. We're leaving. We're out of here. And you think I'm joking, but I'm not. But yes, I'm Adam Pear Pengu on the Twitter sphere. I do tabletop RPG stuff on the interwebs as well as some video editing. You can find me over on Saturday mornings at 12 p.m. Eastern over on Salty Sweet Games, where we play Call of Cthulhu, where I have still yet to be shot, surprisingly, or stabbed. I'm going to be honest, absolutely amazing. Not yet shot or stabbed. But it's a great game with a great group of people. I cannot wait for next week, but also, it is the finale, so there's always that bittersweet bit to it.
Yeah. If you are watching on YouTube right now and you have made it this far, I would like you to comment, are you Team Island or Team Mainland? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you on that. Speaking of Team Mainland, let's hop on up to the top of my overlay to the lady in red, the wonderful Ray.
Oh, hey, I'm Ray or Staley. Either one is fine. Oh, wow. What an episode. Apparently now Staley's running away from all of her problems with her new boyfriend that apparently has all this money that nobody ever knew about. So this will be, it'll be fine, I guess. It'll be okay. I'm really excited. I love this group a lot. Full disclosure, Jacob is my first RPG boyfriend, so it has been fun to role play what that's like, especially as an awkward teenager. I feel like it's very appropriate. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see how everything comes together, especially like Staley now knowing what she knows and everything. So when we go back to 2020, it's going to be an emotional train wreck. But yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be so good. I've loved all of this, and you can find me on the interwebs as With a Brick, 2Ks. This has been great. Friday nights have become a favorite of mine, so I'm always happy to be here.
Awesome. And you can catch the wonderful Ray next week on Thursdays as well in Dreams of Dust, which I think we mentioned at the beginning, or maybe I mentioned it at the beginning of the tunnel. I don't know. It came up. A lot of things have happened since then. And a lot of things usually happen on this show to Josh.
Yeah, that was an
Specifically
episode.
actual Josh.
Yeah. I you know what? Like, this is just a cliff note in what has been a night of discomfort and pain. Like, I don't like this episode has been such a masterclass and just so amazing, and I'm so fucking Travis's comments about being like that lucky guy. I am that lucky guy in real life because I landed with the greatest group, just lucked out with these people. And from Gigi throwing Merrill under the bus in the most pot-stirring, spectacular fashion, from Merrill only referring to Scott Pilgrim as Mr. Pilgrim or the Pilgrim movie, and just me picturing him thinking he's going into like a John Wayne Western movie about pilgrims or something, to Lydia being like just the most adorable when she's like, fresh, what is I don't know what you're talking about, I don't know what this is, you're just this crazy old lady. From Jae having a moment where I'm like, where the hell was Lyle in 2020? Because with Lyle, Jae is invincible. Jae might survive, and then Gigi stabbed him, and we know why Lyle didn't make it to 2020. And from Ray just like putting up with me being the most awkward, terrible, and Jacob being the most awkward, terrible 16-year-old kid. I was not expecting any of tonight. Legitimately, I didn't expect any of the twists that happened. And I don't want this to end. I really, really don't. I want this to go on forever. And I think I'm so hyped for Jay's little mini campaign. The hype is unreal. We are doing some world building stuff for that, and we're still dragging stuff out of that session 0 and just being like, here's that thing. My one takeaway from tonight is if you're in a situation where you really need to fuck someone up and you have a wooden prosthetic shaped like a claw, don't forget, grab and go. That's how you do this. Which is my favorite pun I've ever made. My name is roleplayers_TV. You can find me on the interwebs at that address, where I play in TTRPGs around the internet, including over on Tales from the Grim, where I play a Witcher, Aris of Gesso, over on Wednesdays. Back to you guys.
All right, before I forget, because when I come to me last, I'm bound to forget. Things I am looking forward to about the finale. In behind the stage chat, we've been discussing if we can leave it open to potentially extending a little past our normal 3-hour marks. I kind of hope we do. And I've announced that Friday night Frights is going to be a pajama party. So if we are all in pink pajamas, you now know why. And I invite you to join us at the pajama party. It's going to be a summer party to remember next week, and I am super excited. I can't wait to see how it all wraps up. We've got a lot of little things to tie in. We've got the poll result from today. The poll result from YouTube, I think, will be coming up next week. We've got a lot of places to go, a lot of people to see, and you can find out all about our town over on that Wild Anvil. I know we mention it a lot, but really do go and check it out. It's got so much cool stuff on that you can use for your own game or just to find out more about this town and our story. And the keeper of our story, the original terror, Jonathan Fry.
That's me. I had a great time today. I loved, like, this was probably the most party split we've done out of all of our party splits. But I liked all of the different tones that we were able to hit. I like seeing some of the relationships develop in unexpected ways, and some of them to develop in ways that have been building, since the very beginning. It's really, really cool to see. And I am excited about the finale. I do really like the idea of like an oversized finale, because we need to see, we're going to finish the story in 2010, and we're going to finish the story in 2020. We're going to go back there too. We're going to get to see what happens in both times and how they tie together. And because this is an improv game, I not even I know that. I don't. We'll figure that out together. And that's one of my favorite things about this is that everybody has each other's back. Everybody's helping to tell the story and make it better. It's been a really, really cool thing, and I do look forward to more exploration of Pretty Marsh Harbor, whatever that looks like in the future too. But definitely check out the finale. Thank you for being here. To echo Charlie, thank you, chat, for everything that you've given, all of the polls and all of the donations, everything. It just adds to the story. Anything that didn't come into play today, because we had a lot come in, especially towards the end, we had a ton of stuff come in. I will find a way to bring those elements into the finale. It's gonna be awesome. And I'm just very lucky to get to play with these people. Thank you. I'll see you next week.
Yeah. And please go and check out the LFM YouTube. Donna's just wrapped up that Veiled Alliance campaign for them. It's an amazing Dark Sun campaign full of political intrigue, twists, and turns. And of course, Don's very soothing, deep voice, which we all love and adore. So please go and check that out and keep an eye on the things that LFM are putting out, because it's a fun channel and they've got a lot of cool new stuff coming up. For my part, thank you all for joining us for Premieres Week and for continuing Seawall here on the channel. Next week is the finale of the show, but it will be the second episode for all of our other shows in the mini-season. I'm going to send this out with the trailer so you can see everything that is on during the week next week. And we will have an additional one-shot coming up on the Thursday after Dreams of Dust. So it's another bumper week. We're going to keep you covered. And on Sunday, it's our monthly Meet Grinder where we're raising money for Great Ormond Street Children's Hospital. So if you are free at 3 p.m. on Sunday, please come and hang out with us. Hit that retweet button. If you have some spare cash, consider donating. It's a wonderful charity and place which helps look after our littles. So that is what we are doing. We appreciate you all so much. We will be on Discord screaming about this for a little while. But until next week, try not to roll too many nat ones because, Biros to eyeballs? Question mark. Take care, everybody.